Now on YouTube, it's time for some alternative commentary action with the Commenttary Hub.
There's headed by Marina, and it's 2-1 to Arsenal.
Look for that pass! Goal for Manchester City!
Takes this corner, whips it in, it's headed and it's a goal, and it's that man, Gabriel.
Liverpool have equalised. Lovely improvisational touch from Curtis Jones.
Oh, what a goal! Wow, take it out!
Hello, good afternoon and welcome to Wembley Stadium, here live on the TC Hub and all the platforms, including the TC Hub Twitch channel and of course Storm FM for the 2025 Championship playoff final. Sheffield United and Sunderland, teams that have finished third and fourth in the regular championship season, who both at one time or another led the championship at certain points in the season, are now just standing tantalisingly 90 minutes, maybe more away from a return to the big time. Sunderland, you have to go back 7 years to when they were last in the Premier League, but they've had a monumental fall from grace. They fell down to League One and stayed in there for some 2 or 3 seasons. They got back up in 2022 via the playoffs, and Sheffield United relegated alongside Burnley last season. Burnley and Leeds already there. It's just a question who will join them today. You've got me, JB and John Stuttard in the commentary box here at Wembley, and alongside me, I'm pleased to say, is my old pal Paul James, who did a magnificent job a week last Saturday in the FA Cup final. Did a great commentary, but he's only keeping me cup final seat warm. I'll be back next year. Hello, Paul. Good afternoon to you.
Hi, JB. How are you?
I'm very well. Well, what a final we've got in prospect here. I mean, the FA Cup final was a great final, great for the underdogs. We've seen a lot of. Sunderland, you've got to say, are the underdogs because of the league position. Now, in the cup finals this season, you've covered the two big ones. You've covered the League Cup final and you've covered the FA Cup final. Both have been won by underdogs. Do you think Sunderland might do it today, or do you think Sheffield United, despite their jinxes in playoffs, might just make it 10 times lucky today?
Well, if you want to look at the past history, you would say Sheffield United are the underdogs, as third-place teams very rarely win in the playoffs. To actually have a third versus fourth playoff final is quite rare indeed. But I think Sheffield United do have the stronger squad on paper, but as one great man said, football matches are not played or won on paper. So this is going to be a very interesting game. It's a one-off, an opportunity for Sunderland to get promoted in back-to-back seasons and get back to where they belong, in my opinion, where a club of that size belongs and a club of that size of fan base belongs, is the Premier League. Not to disrespect Sheffield United, they've also got a very strong squad, a good backing, and they will want to return to the Premier League the first time of asking as well. So it's going to be very, very tight today, JB.
Well, it's been the year of the underdog in the cup finals. As we said, Newcastle winning against Liverpool in the EFL final in March. Then you had Birmingham upset by Peterborough in the Johnston's Paint Trophy, or the Bristol Street Motors final. And then last weekend, Crystal Palace winning their first ever major piece of silverware in 120 years of their history by beating red hot favourites Manchester City. But this really is the most expensive cup final or a playoff final in world football. This really is. They say in the FA Cup final is the world's biggest event. I would certainly say that I'd certainly be in the argument that the playoff final, the Championship playoff final, financially is a bigger final, because the winners of this final today, let me tell you folks, stand to earn over the next 12 months alone a massive £220 million with the new TV deals coming into force next season with Sky and with TNT Sports. That's how monumental this match is going to be, Paul. I mean, they talk about the FA Cup final being the biggest event, but the winners of that only pick up £2 million in reality. But in reality, in this final, this is more expensive. This is a much more richer final than any of the big cup finals we see in, year out, including the Champions League.
Yeah, I mean, this is financially, this is the one that the club's accountants will look at and say, you make sure you win this one. Because this puts the money in this one will bring in the TV revenue. This one will increase, not just TV revenue, but attendance is bound to increase. The attendance revenue increase on season ticket sales. There is a whole bunch of reasons financially to win this match. Is it as big as the FA Cup? Certainly not. Is it as big as the Champions League, if you want to call it the Champions League anymore? Certainly not.
But it's here, and it's going to stay. The playoffs are here to stay. As the teams walk out, there's going to be 90,000 supporters from Sheffield and from Sunderland who will disagree with what you've just said, Paul, because the noise here, when they walk out in about 5 seconds from now, the noise will be absolutely deafening. You cannot hear yourself think in a cauldron of noise. Two teams that are vastly supported, teams that are, their fan bases have certainly been run through the mill over the last few years. Both have been in the third tier of English football in the last sort of 15 years between them. As we look at Joby Bellingham, the younger brother of Jude Bellingham, who missed out on winning La Liga and was knocked out of the Champions League by Arsenal. But the Sunderland supporters, they've only won twice. They've only won once since they won the famous 1973 final against Leeds. And of course, we've got presentation parties from Sky Bet and the chairman of the Football League there. I mean, it's one of the best leagues, best non-top flight leagues in the world, the Championship. It's the best supported second team league around Europe. There's no doubt about that. It's probably about the 6th or 7th biggest league in the world, if you include all the top flight leagues around Europe, as they shake hands with the Sunderland players. Well, it's Sheffield United, actually. They've won the toss for colours. And, well, Jack Robinson, he's famous for those long throw-ins. There's Chris Wilder. And the shake there for Jack Robinson as representatives from Sky Bet, the EFL sponsors, of course. There's Chris Cowan, the referee. The two assistants, Lee Betts and Neil Davis, and Peter Banks, who's going to be the fourth official. Regis de Priest, Frenchman, relative unknown when he came to Sunderland about a year ago. But what a job he has done to get them to this stage. And it was typified in the last seconds of the semi-final against Commenttary when Dan Ballard's bullet header sunk a plucky Commenttary, who maybe on balance didn't deserve to lose that semi-final. But then football, as one great man used to say, it only took a second to score a goal. We are going to pause for a second or two now, because before we give you the two lineups, we are now going to just stand for a few moments now to listen to the national anthem. Well, that was sung with real gusto there. Now the pleasantries are over. They'll shake hands and then that's it. Then the pleasantries will be over with and the real business can begin. It's two teams. Sheffield United in any other season would have got automatically promoted with their points haul. 92 points they finished up in the end with a last day victory over Blackburn Rovers. But this really will be a real test of everybody's nerve here this afternoon. So the teams then for this 2025 Championship playoff final, the richest final in world football, It's like this. We start with Sheffield United. In goal will be Michael Cooper, who's kept 16 clean sheets this season, behind James Trafford. At the back, we've got Hamza Chowdhury, Jack Robinson, the captain, Ano Ahmedhodzic, and Harrison Burrows, who's really coming to the side very well this season. In the midfield area, we've got Ryan Brewster, the former Liverpool youngster, Sidney Peck, Vinicius Souza, and Gustavo Harmer, who can create chances off a sixpence. Then up front, you've got Kiefer Moore, who's got 6 goals in all competitions this season, and the top scorer with 11, Tyrese Campbell. On the bench, Davis, the goalkeeper, McCallum, Rob Holding, Serki, Callum O'Hare, formerly of Coventry, Davis, Brooks, Ren Berreton Diaz, and Tom Cannon, who's only got 1 goal this season, and that happened to come in the game at Turf Moor against Burnley, would you believe? As for Sunderland, Regis de Vries, their manager, they finished something like 16 points in the end behind Sheffield United. They finished up on 76 points. Their lineup is as follows. It's Anthony Patterson in goal. Back 4 of Dennis Durkin, Luke O'Nien, formerly of Wickham, Dan Ballard, who got the winner against Coventry in the last seconds of extra time in the second leg, and Trae Hume. Then it's Enzo Lafayette, Joe Bellingham, brother of Jude Bellingham, a Brummie born and bred, Dan Neal, the captain, Chris Wigg, Romain Mundle, who's got 5 goals in all competitions this season, and Mayenda, who's got 11. The top scorer, Isidore, is on the bench alongside Samed, Brown, Geld, Jones, Meppen, Moore, the goalkeeper, Roberts, and Watson. The referee today, Chris Kavanagh from Greater Manchester. The game will kick off at 1 minute past 3 because there is a promotion going on for the CPR to get more people going into CPR. And whilst that's going on, let me just remind you, so Chris Kavanagh is the referee from Ashton Underline in Greater Manchester. Lee Betts and Neil Davis are the 2 assistants. Peter Banks, the 4th official. And today, in the biggest final of all, is we do have the dreaded VAR, and that is operated by Melton Mowbray's finest, John Brooks, from the land of the pork pie. He's at Stockley Park today, as opposed to Wembley. So, we're all set to go then. Vinnie Jones just explaining to everyone about the CPR, and then once that's over with, we can now begin this championship playoff final. There is big Vinnie Jones, looking very well as ever. Looking very sharp in his suit, gotta say. Nice purple number. So, Paul James, I'm going to put you on the spot now as the teams toss up for the ends and kick off. Who's going to win the final today? I'm putting you on the spot. Or are you going to sit on the fence?
Well, it's a tough call, JB. I'm not allowed to sit on the fence on this one. I'm a co-com, so I'm gonna give a prediction. I think Sheffield United will win it, but it's going to be very tight. Maybe 1 goal is going to settle this game, I think. It's going to be very, very tight. Sunderland have a good team, but I just think Sheffield United have just got more in them, and I think that they'll probably pick up the victory today by the odd goal.
I can see your logic, because their top scorer is Tyrese Campbell with 11, and he's playing, whereas Isidore's got 13, and he's not even in the 11. So I can see your logic, but you can never write off Sunderland. They wrote them off in 73 in the cup final when Leeds were expected to win by something like 4 or 5-0. That was a team that had Hunter, it was Don Revie's team in those days, where they had Hunter, Bremner, Clark, Lorimer, Gray. They had all the big names, but they were humbled by Jim Montgomery and Ian Porterfield on that day. Sunderland are in the change strip of blue sleeves and white and blue sleeve tops, and Sheffield United are in that famous red and white stripes, and it's going to be Gus Harmer to get us underway. Sheffield United are going to be attacking the goal away to my left hand side here. Away we go then. The championship playoff final is up and running. This really is the biggest game, one of the biggest games in English football. A massive £220 million for grabs. Who will come out on top? Early throw for Sunderland then, over on the far side. Ball not back in there by Hamza Chowdhury, formerly of Leicester. In fact, he's on loan to Sheffield United from Leicester. Oh, Patterson put under pressure right at the word goal there. Just maybe dawdled a bit there, the Sunderland goalkeeper, Paul, and he, well, on another day, he could have been punished for that.
Yeah, a bit lackadaisical there, but fortunately for Sunderland, they get away with that one.
Well, here's Chowdhury now. Ahmedhodzic, who gave away that crucial penalty at Turf Moor, which led to Brownhill scoring the second goal at Turf Moor about a month ago. And what was a real decider. Sheffield United knew 3 games before the end they were going to be playing in the playoffs as Harmer plays that in. And they've made a purposeful start and they almost score, but for a miraculous save from Anthony Patterson. Great header came in and Patterson somehow on the line denies Kiefer Moore from no more than 6 yards out. And Paul, I've got to say, this save is up there with Gordon Banks of 1970 because nobody, once Moore had got ahead on that, nobody expected Patterson to get down and scoop it away.
It was a super save. Oh my goodness me. Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. It was very Gordon Banks-esque. He gets down and makes that save. I don't know how he makes that save. This is a thumping header. It's bouncing just as it approaches the goalkeeper's hand as he gets down to his left-hand side. That save there, right there, defies physics. I don't know how he managed to get across for that. A super save.
Never mind physics, it defies belief. Luke O'Nien, by the way, there's a break in play because Luke O'Nien in all of that got himself an injury when Moore was bundling into nod that Edward had a goal bound, not purely accidental. But we're just eulogising that save again. I mean, Moore thinks he's scored it. He's practically on the floor, about to stick one arm up in celebration. And Patterson, who isn't the tallest of men, has literally gone away to his left and has got a big paw on it, and he's managed to somehow get a big left hand. Luke O'Nien is still receiving treatment from the physios. I wonder if it's concussion. Looks more like the shoulder to me, but we'll keep you updated with that. So we've got a break in play. Don't forget, there's the Scottish Cup final taking place today, and England are now 3 wickets away from winning the first Test match, or the only Test match at Trent Bridge. Zimbabwe in their second innings, following on 227 for 7 in their second innings. They were all out for 265 and they were following on after England had made a massive 565 for 6 declared. They got all those runs, I think, on the first day. So England running away with that. As for the Scottish Cup final, 4 minutes gone in that one. Aberdeen 0, Celtic 0. As we see again, Paul. I mean, I've seen it 3 or 4 times now, Paul, this save. Luke O'Nien's still receiving treatment, by the way. But that save from Patterson, I mean, as I said, he's not the tallest of men. How is he managed? I mean, that defies not just physics, but belief, doesn't it?
Well, I keep looking at it and I still can't believe it every time I see it. That is, for me, is the save of the season anywhere that I've seen this season. And I've covered a lot of games this season, and that is the one. I don't know how he gets across to make that save. He has no right to make that save, but he gets across and makes it. And Kiefer Moore will be looking at that and he'll be asking the same question: how did that not go in?
Well, we just saw a rueful smile on Kiefer Moore's face, and it told 1,000 words. And I'm afraid the stretcher is on for Luke O'Nien, and that's a big problem for Sunderland now, Paul, because he's one of their most loyalist players, joined from Wickham in the old days of, and when they came down from the Premier League. He got relegated to the League One, came from Wickham, been a Sunderland player for nearly 6 years now, and that's a real shame for Luke O'Nien, who's a passionate player, and it looks as if Sunderland and Regis Debris could be forced into making an early sub. It's a real shame, really.
Yeah, it is. I just wonder whether he's the way they're holding his arm, whether it's potentially a fracture or a shoulder that's popped out. It's getting applause from all sides of the ground, which is good.
Rightly so.
Yeah, and we can only wish him all the best. We hope he gets. It looks like it's a dislocated shoulder, actually. I would say. We can only wish him all the best, and hopefully he'll be back soon. How very unfortunate it's happened in a game of this magnitude.
Absolutely, and I'm sad to report that he's receiving oxygen, but I am also pleased to report that he's on his feet. He doesn't need the stretcher, but I'm just looking at him now. He's just in complete and utter agony, and I've had knees pop out, and I can tell you that they are painful. But this one is his arm. I mean, it was purely accidental. No, I should also add it was no fault on behalf of Kiefer Moore, and he's receiving oxygen. And it's not the way Luke O'Nien dreamt in his hotel room the night before, was it?
No.
Sunderland now preparing a substitution.
Is it Chris Mepham? I think it's Chris Mepham.
Yeah, it's going to be the experienced Chris Mepham, I think. Yeah, it is Mepham, number 26. Formerly of Bournemouth. But he's got bundles of Premier League experience, so he isn't a bad replacement to come on in this sort of game. He's a big game player. He's played in the Premier League before with Bournemouth, so he knows what it's all about, Paul.
Oh yeah, he's a good player to turn to in a crisis like this. An experienced head will help calm the rest of the defenders down. So it's a good man to turn to. He just wasn't expected to turn to him this early.
Well, they're playing with 10 men for the duration because Sheffield United have gone on with it from the drop ball. They got across him, but Sunderland down to 10 men as we speak. Luke O'Nien makes his way around the perimeter of the pitch. He's actually receiving treatment behind that Patterson goal. As the ball is crossed in towards the far side, and again, Kiefer Moore was there. The shot comes in from Harmer, charged away, and we know how sweet a long-range shot. He loves a long-range shot, Gustavo Harmer. And Robinson back for Sheffield United. 7 minutes gone, but 3 or 4 of those for the injury for Luke O'Nien. He was receiving treatment. We're still waiting for Chris Mepham to make his way. That's surely offside there. But the referee's not. And it's a real opportunity there for Sheffield United. It was Harmer who miscontrolled it, and he hasn't kept that in by the dead ball line. But it did look as if that the flag should have gone up there. Oh, I tell you what, Benny Sousa is way off for me there. I think, again, why are the linesmen not putting the flag up straight away? We're going to...
Oh, they paid for that. They paid for that, didn't they, in the game with the Nottingham Forest game with Taylor Wanye's injury? It's a mile offside. Just raise the flag.
Yeah, absolutely. So Mepham is now on for 09. So what that offside flag in a roundabout way is now Sunderland are now back to a full complement of 11, and Mepham has got an unexpected 82 minutes of this final, maybe more if it goes to extra time and penalties. I should stress, if it does end a draw today after 90 minutes, we play on. We'll play on for half an hour's more extra time. If it's level after that, it's a penalty shootout. If we get that far, I'll explain the whole situation then. There's no point in trying to muddle your heads with all this malarkey until we may well not need that necessity. I do apologise in the background.
Tell you what, JB, most of the time we commentate on finals, it does usually end up going to penalties, doesn't it?
It does. I do apologise. We got some background noise going on, so I do apologise. As Sunderland have it now with Chris Wigg on the near side. As the ball is now played across, and I do apologise. I do apologise in the background. I'm going to have to just disconnect for a couple of minutes.
I'll take over for a moment, JB. It's a free kick given by Chris Kavanagh to Sheffield United. Just over the ball right now is the number 14, Jack Burrows. He drops the ball back there to Ahmed Hodzik. And again, it's Chowdhury now on the ball. Approaching the halfway line there is Robinson again. It's a long ball forward. Flicked on over the top, and chasing it is Tyrese Campbell, but it's played away there by Dan Ballard. And out of play for a throw-in to Sheffield United. And Burrows is going to take it for the Blades. He drops the ball back there into his own half of the field to Ahmed Hodzik, and picked up again there in the in the centre of defence, and the ball is going to be played forward here, long, looking towards Tyrese Campbell. The head is won comfortably there again by Ballard, and now it's played forward and won back by Sheffield United. United. Oh, there you go.
Yes, we are back. Yeah, apologies there. We had a bit of background trouble. I've sorted that out, and we're back underway. You've missed, thankfully, Paul. Thank you for taking over the commentary.
Not a problem.
And now here's Rigg for Sunderland. Oh, that looked a bad challenge from Vinny Sousa, but the referee allows it to go on. And still it remains goalless here in this cup final, this playoff final. The ball threaded through, back with Patterson in the goal for Sunderland. Remember, it's white shirts, all white strip for Sunderland, all red and white stripes for Sheffield United. Remember, they won the toss for the colours in the build-up to this final, which is now 12 minutes old. Up in Scotland in the Scottish Cup final of 2025, it's still Aberdeen 0, Celtic 0, and in the cricket, England are now Zimbabwe 241 for 7. England need 3 wickets to win that only Test match up at Trent Bridge, that one-off Test match at Trent Bridge. It's Zimbabwe's first Test match in England since 2007, incidentally. But here in the football, in the Championship playoff final, our live offering this afternoon on TC Hub and Storm FM and the TC Hub Twitch channel. It's Sheffield United 0, Sunderland 0 here at Wembley. And a final that has been quite an open final when the game has been in motion. There was a lengthy stoppage for the injury to Luke O'Nien. As Hamza Chowdhury has fouled his man, I think, illegally when he tried to get hold of the ball there when trying to dispossess. I think it was Dennis Sirkin. And over on the far side, let's have a look. Well, it was more Sirkin on Chowdhury, I must admit, but the referee's giving it Sunderland's way. Free kick to them.
Yeah, interesting that one, JB. Hamza Chowdhury shirt pulling there, and well, it's unnecessary, and it'll get you a yellow card, and that's not what Hamza wants at this point of the game.
Well, to be quite honest, I didn't think Hamza Chowdhury had done anything wrong. He's trying to flick the ball round, scoop the ball around with his foot, but the referee saw it differently, and accordingly gave Sunderland a free kick. The ball played forward, and there's a well-known fact, Paul. I'm not sure if you've mentioned this yet in commentary, but I'm going to mention it. Sheffield United have not won at Wembley for nearly 100 years. In fact, the last time they won any Wembley final, you have to go back to the late 1920s, 1928, for the last time they actually won at the Wembley, Twin Towers or Arch. Now that is an interesting statistic, and this is their 10th attempt at the playoffs, and they've never won a playoff campaign in neither the Championship or League One. So they could break new ground here, this team, today, if they can get the result.
Yes, well, they'll certainly be wanting to break that little curse, won't they? I mean,
well, they've got a chance inside the penalty area. Shot comes in from Vinny Sousa. It was charged away, and Ahmed Hodzik now back to Chowdhury. Now it's Jack Robinson, the captain. A lot of responsibility on his shoulders. 2 northern-based teams, one in Sheffield, one in Sunderland. Who's going to come out? The northeastern, the wearside grit, or the Yorkshire Steel? Here's Michael Cooper, who came second in the Golden Glove race to Burnley's very own James Trafford. And I have to say, Cooper pushed him close. Well, didn't close really, because Trafford, as we all know, Paul, we know, but well, he kept 30 clean sheets. Cooper, I think, over the course of the season, including the players, I think kept something like 16 or 17 clean sheets, so he wasn't even in the running, really.
it was an incredible defensive display from Burnley all season long. From the Premier League, where the defence was leaking goals like a sieve, to an airtight defence in the Championship, gives you some idea as to where the difference is between the Championship and the Premier League, really.
Well, we'll be interested to see how Burnley go about it in the new season coming up. The fixtures, incidentally, for the Premier League come out on June the 18th this summer. And will one of these two teams be looking out for fixtures on that date, or will they be looking earlier for when the EFL fixtures come out? One of these teams have to lose. And of course, tomorrow we've got a very good playoff final in prospect. An all-London affair between Leyton Orient, who are lucky to get past Stockport County with that dodgy bit of officiating in the first leg at Brisbane Roar, when they scored an offside goal that was 3 yards offside, which that goal actually proved the difference on aggregate against Charlton Athletic, another fallen former Premier League side. And it's really sad to see the likes of Charlton Athletic down in the basement divisions of the Football League. Now then, here comes Sunderland. Big opportunity for them to show what they're about with Mundle, and he wins a corner on the far side. A little bit better from Sunderland as we've gone way past the quarter hour mark. We've come up towards 17 minutes of the first half, and still we await the first goal. But some good football being played by both sides, and Sunderland now have a corner in front of the Sheffield United fans away to my right-hand side. And the side whose fans have been allocated the right-hand end of Wembley have had not much luck. It's always the sides with the supporters on the left-hand end that have always won the finals this season. Funny that, isn't it? Here comes the corner into the penalty area. Well taken there by Michael Cooper. And he bowls it straight out to Gus Harmer and to Vinny Sousa as well. Sousa now in possession. Good football this from Sheffield United. Two teams that will play the football along the deck. They've scored plenty of goals. Certainly Sunderland did in the opening part of the season. That did not stay in play, despite the best intentions of Chris Week. But, I mean, will it going to Sunderland's favour? Because the last two cup winners have had supporters at the left-hand end of the ground. That's where the Sunderland supporters are situated, Paul.
Yeah.
Does that have a bearing on it, or are we just clutching at straws for superstitions, or what? I don't know.
I think we're probably clutching at straws at superstitions, but look, the bottom line is the fact is that sometimes this does affect the thinking of the players. You know, athletes today, particularly footballers, are very superstitious, so it can have an effect on the players' minds. Obviously, I would have thought the coaching staff at both sides, though, would have wanted to have kept information like that away from the players, and just to focus on this game and this game only, to ensure that next season they're playing in the top division.
Yeah, and maybe we're clutching at straws there a little bit, as Paul rightly says. Anyway, still 0-0 in this final. Here's Rick for Sunderland. And then on to Dan Neil, who's the Sunderland skipper. And now a good ball played by Nafi over to the far side. And here's another chance for Mundle to have a run at the Sheffield defence. Ballard winning the ball, but knocking it out of play. And Chris Mepham too. I mean, you look at Dan Ballard, he's a Sunderland lad through and through. That header, I mean, some people will say it was lucky. Some people will say it was a bullet header. If you're a Sunderland fan, they'll say it was a bullet header. But he's Mr. Sunderland, is Dan Ballard. I mean, if they get a set play, a corner kick or whatever, and it comes on his head, he's a very tricky customer to stop, as we saw in the semi-finals.
Yeah, I mean, it was a... I wouldn't know if I would call it a bullet header. It was a good header. It was enough to put the ball into the back of the net. To be honest with you, I felt Coventry were very unlucky. But that's football, isn't it? That's football. That's the way football is. You sometimes play well and you lose. Sometimes you play badly and you win.
Yeah, I'm just looking at a stat there that's appeared on my screen about Chris Wilder, who's won 4 promotions for Sheffield United as a player and a manager, but they've all been automatic promotions. Remember, Sheffield United in 10 previous attempts in any divisional playoff campaign have been very unsuccessful. One of those fell foul of Burnley. Was it 16 years ago now, Paul? 16 years ago. Yeah, 16 years ago. Doesn't time fly, doesn't it? Owen Cole, the manager then.
Wade Elliott got the goal. It was a beauty as well, wasn't it? You remember that?
Yeah.
Curled it
Yes.
top corner.
And unfortunately, because of what's happened before, Sky's decided never to show that in playoff final goals compilations. I don't know why, because it was a classic goal. They show Vastay's goal, they show Bobby Zamora's goal, and they weren't exactly. I know they were winning goals, but they weren't exactly top draw goals.
No.
And I think Burnley's Wade Elliott. I mean, they showed the Dean Windass goal for whole time and time again against Bristol City. I mean, listen. I mean, these are the two best sides outside the top two. It's going to be a bit cagey. I don't think it's going to be anything like 1998 when Sunderland were involved that day. Clive Mendonca and Niall Quinn and Nicky Summerby, 4-4. Michael Gray's penalty miss, one of the greatest playoff finals of all time. You see, you know, you have to. If you go back earlier into the 1990s, Paul. I mean, the playoff finals always produced some of the best football you saw all season. Swindon against Leicester in '93, 4-3 Swindon. Bolton against Reading in '95 when Reading were 2-0 up in that final and missed a penalty to make it 3-0 through Steve Lovell. And then Bolton came back and won after extra time. So
I think you have to realise. I think a lot of it's got to do with the finances and what is at stake in this game. We're talking, like you said at the top of the broadcast, we're talking millions and millions and millions of pounds that rest on players not making any silly errors or defensive situations. So yes, this game and playoff finals in more recent years have been a lot tighter.
Yeah, but wouldn't it be great for football if we saw a classic? It would be, you know, if we get the finances involved. It would just be unbelievable if we could it would be unbelievable if we saw a 7-goal thriller, but it's clutching at straws. But this is a good run now from number 12 here, Mayenda, and he's won his team a corner on the near side. Sunderland, in the last sort of 5 minutes or so, starting to creep into this spine a little bit more. They're showing a bit more belief from Mayenda here, turning away on a sixpence ball and forcing the corner off the defender.
Best move by Sunderland so far, I think. It's taken them a while to really break into the Sheffield United half, but they've that's some good football right there.
It is, and Trey Hume is going to take the corner from the near side here. Ballard is up, Mepham is up, Birmingham's in there, amongst others. So too is Mundell as well. Can Sunderland strike while the iron is hot, perhaps? The white, blue and green of Sunderland today. Referee's not happy that some jostling, pushing and shoving going on at the moment. Yuma goes short, gets it back again. First time crossing to the penalty area. Away by Sheffield United. Bellingham on the retreat, but it's Harmer now for Sheffield United. And he's looking to get players forward, and there's a chance inside the penalty area, and that's going to be the first goal for Sheffield United! Would you believe it? It came from a Sunderland corner. And it's 1-0 to Sheffield United. It was made by Gustavo Harmer and Tyrese Campbell. The top scorer has chipped it over Patterson into the far corner, and the top scorer now goes to 12 goals, and Sheffield United lead after 25 minutes of the 2025 playoff final. 1-0 they lead. Tyrese Campbell, Paul James.
Oh, that was the finish was quite brilliant. But let's take a look here. Just go back a little bit and take a look at the build-up. Look at how quick Sheffield United broke out there. They broke out so quickly, and the football was brilliant. The ball across from Harmer to Campbell. He just flicks it over the goalkeeper, and that is a brilliant goal. Sheffield United take the 1-goal lead, and this is why all season Sheffield United until at least the very last few weeks of the season, were very, very consistent. That's a prime example of it right there.
And Chris Wilder's celebration says it all. And these fans who have suffered playoff heartache here 5 times at Wembley before, time after time after time, maybe is it going to be 6th time lucky at Wembley? And on balance of play, they just about deserved it. Sunderland have come into it sudden in the last 5 minutes or so, but the early stages were run by Sheffield United, one must say. So, and as you say, Paul, it was a lightning fast counter-attack, and they've done it to so many teams this season, with the exception of possibly Burnley and Leeds. And this is why they finished with 92 points. I mean, 94 if you include the 2 they got deducted for the inactivities with transfer mispayments and stuff. But, well, they say 11 goals there, but it's 12 for the season. It's 11 goals in the league, 12 in all competitions if you include the cup ties that they've played this season. And it's the team from Sheffield who lead the team from Wearside by 1-0. But let's not write off Sunderland just yet, Paul. They have, before the goal, they had crept into it a little bit.
Yeah, they did. They started to move forward.
Oh, wait a minute, there's a chance there, and it's over the top. And it was 6 yards out, and it should have been 1-1. It was Mayenda with a free header from Hume's cross. And really, Paul, that should have been the leveller.
Yeah, that should have been the goal. They say you're always most vulnerable when you score a goal. Well, that was the opportunity for Sunderland to prove that there, and he put it over the crossbar. And that is, he had a lot of time to place that header. He'll be disappointed with that one.
And one must say that is gilt-edged. And that is the difference between 3rd in the table at the moment and 4th in the table. And remember, Sheffield United, lest we forget, finished 13 points above Sunderland in terms of points in the table. 92 plays 76 here. If you want to take the regular season in the cap. Here's Joby Bellingham. And they need more from him, I reckon, and really try and grab hold of this midfield by the scruff of the neck, because at the moment, Gus Harmer is running the show for Sheffield United. There isn't a doubt about it. And that's why maybe, I mean, we all stuck our noses up when he was crowned Championship Player of the Season, but on that example, on the goal, I can understand why the vote may have gone his way, because that pass for Campbell, not many midfield players in this league would have picked him out.
No, it was a super pass, wasn't it? It was a super pass, and the breakout again. It was almost Liverpool-esque on what we've seen with them with this season as well, with a really quick breakout. It was a brilliant goal, and imagine a team finishing on 94 points and not being promoted automatically. I can't remember the last time that happened.
I don't think we can ever remember the last time it happened, but there we go. Kevin says, "Hey up JB, 2 happy fans here, Palace and Burnley next season." So, yeah. Crystal Palace, what a season they've had. European football next season, FA Cup winners, rightly so, last weekend. And at the moment, the way the game's gone, I don't think anybody, even the most hardened and most biased of Sunderland fans, or rose-tinted Sunderland fans, would begrudge Sheffield United the lead. But here is Sirkin breaking forward, the number 3 for Sunderland, hounded out a bit by 2 Sheffield United players. But the ball now breaks kindly now from Mundle, who makes his way down the left-hand side. Mundle towards the byline. Good challenge there by the defender there, Hamza Chowdhury, who's in fact won a free kick for his side, as Mundle just bundled into him. I think Chowdhury may have made a little bit of a meal of it, to be honest, but nevertheless, the free kick's been given. Still 1-0, and we've played nearly 30 minutes of this final.
Yes, I agree with you, JB. I don't think there's anybody that can begrudge Sheffield United the lead right now. They've controlled much of this first half so far. And for Sunderland, well, they're going to have to find a way to break down Sheffield United and try to get themselves back into this game.
Well, they've got to find something, and quick. And that needs to be said. Michael Cooper with a free kick, right-footed, just to the left of the penalty area as he clears it away. gets it halfway. Game of head tennis goes on. Then Campbell tries to get involved. And then the ball ushered back to Anthony Patterson, who made that magnificent save at the start. That's all been forgotten about because of the goal that's happened and the injury to Paul Luke 09. And really, he'll be receiving treatment and he'll know very well what's happened now. As soon as we get news on Luke 09, we'll bring it to you here on the TC Hub, of course. I'm sure our producer Russ will be like a mole, as he always is, and trying to find out the cause of the injury. But look at Hume there, free on that near side. Hume's cross, good first time ball in. Chances here for Sunderland. Well, it was Riggs' cross inside the penalty area, and Sunderland now reacting well to going to go behind, Paul.
Yeah, they've started to come forward a bit. They've had that chance, that golden opportunity, of course, but at the moment, we'll see. They've not really forced the goalkeeper into any real saves at the moment, so I think they're going to have to start creating chances. Yeah,
and Bellingham and Ballard need to step up to the plate. Here's Ballard on the ball now. Plays the aforementioned as well, Bellingham. Now Mepham, plenty of big game experience with Bournemouth in the past in the Premier League. Hume, his corner mess up led to the goal. Sirkin comes forward again, picks out the lively Mundle. And now back to Bellingham. Bellingham has got Neil in support, the captain. Now Bellingham. And a chance here now for Mundle to get forward again on the far side. Him against Chowdhury has been a big feature of the battle so far, the personal duels. And you have to say at the moment between the two of them, Hamza Chowdhury is just about coming out on top at the moment.
Yeah, and I'm just looking again at this goal. I mean, there was 3 players around Gustavo Hammer there. And look at the outside of the boot pass that he finds.
I should also, before you carry on, I should also add this came from a Sunderland corner.
Yeah, it was incredible. And the outside of the boot pass, 3 of them surrounding him. Nobody picking up Therese Campbell. This was not good defending by Sunderland either.
Well, a little bit better defending from Chris Mefford has yielded a Sheffield United corner from Tyrese Campbell on the near side. So 33 minutes of this Championship playoff final, the first of 3 playoff finals, of course, to be played over the course of the weekend. We've got Leyton Orient against Charlton tomorrow. I think Wimbledon are involved in the other one. I'm forgetting who they play. Anyway, we'll find out later. Here's Harmer with the corner now for Sheffield United, leading 1-0 in the big one, the Championship playoff final. Harmer's corner, into the area it goes, and up with the head, and then the shot back in, it's gone in! It's 2-0 from outside the penalty area. It's Harrison Burrows of all people, the left back. What a shot by him. He must have been no more than 25 yards out. It's skidded along the deck, and Burrows gets his 7th goal of the season, and Sheffield United are 2-0 ahead in this playoff final. What a goal from the young Sheffield United fullback. 2-0 they lead, Paul.
Well, he caught it on the volley, on the half volley. Now it's skewed up into the air, and I believe the goalkeeper was unsighted. They're reviewing it on VAR now.
Well, yes, there may have been a man offside. Well, you don't know yet. So for the time being, it remains 2-0. I thought it was 25 yards out. It's just, in fact, it was a bit further in than that. It was less than 25 yards out, but he's caught it well. But was Kiefer Moore and a couple of others maybe in the goalkeeper's eyesight? It has gone to the VAR to look at, and I have to say, at least one Sheffield United player, as far as I can tell, and it's probably Vinicius Junior. It's Vinny Souza.
I think they've got to disallow it.
It's a shame, really, from Harrison Burrows' point of view, because he won't have hit that any sweeter than that, will he? I mean, that's where he race it. But the bottom line is, Vinny Souza is quite blatantly standing in an offside position and is in line of the goalkeeper's sight.
Yeah, they've got to disallow this, in my opinion, JB.
Well, we've commentated on Wembley Cup finals, and it is going to the big screen. So 99.9% of the time, he will change his mind. Now, I remember a League Cup final we did together when Liverpool, we thought, scored a perfectly good goal against Chelsea, only for the referee only for VAR to disallow it.
You can see
this looks more
right across his eye line here. Watch.
Yes, it does.
Now. Yeah.
Yes, I'm just looking now. Yes, but this looks more clear cut than the one we had 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for Harrison Burrows because if he tried that another 99 times, he could not have hit that sweet and that. And he's the person I feel sorry for from a Sheffield United viewpoint, because if Vinny Souza is not standing in an offside position, that goes down as one of the great playoff and Wembley goals of all time.
Yeah, it was a beautifully struck shot. The referee's just announcing the reason why that goal is not going to stand.
About 2 seconds from now. Yes, Vinny Souza standing in an offside position. It's got to be a free kick to Sunderland at this point, surely. I'll be amazed if it's anything else.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, the goal is not going to stand. It's gone back to 1-0 from 2-0. And, and in the end, it was the correct decision in the end. And that VAR check did... Well, I thought it was blatantly obvious. It took about 3 or 4 goals, at least 3 minutes. No, in the FA final last week, they used semi-automated offsides. Now, why couldn't they have done the same for this game? It's just, if you're going to use it for the FA Cup final, use semi-automated for the playoffs.
Well, there's no reason not to, is there?
Makes no sense. Makes no sense. Same venue as last week, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's just, heavens above. Anyway, they came to the right decision. I think that's the top and bottom of it. Vinny Souza was interfering with play. I feel very sorry for Harrison Burrows because that is a terrific right-footed effort. And unfortunately, that goal now has been wiped out. It's been knocked off and will not go down in the annals of great Wembley goals scored at this famous stadium. Yeah. I feel sorry for Harrison Burrows, but I don't think if Sheffield United were to win, still go on and win, I don't think you'll feel too bad about it. But I just get a feeling now, Paul, could that be a turning point?
It could be, and Sunderland should use this now as a point of where they can try to change the way that this game is going.
Next goal is going to be also crucial if it does come, and if it comes for Sunderland, then so much the better. This is Rigg on the right-hand side, goes back in field, uses Mepham, the centre-back. Now his colleague Dan Ballard. Sunderland have really got off the hook here. Now Mundle takes on his defender. Now Bellingham. They need some quality from him. They use again. Hume's cross is a dangerous one, and they had 2 opportunities there, but the ball fell nicely there for Michael Cooper. And Sheffield United survive as the rain starts to drizzle down here at Wembley. It's not the sunny afternoon we had a week ago at Wembley. But nevertheless, the final, no less dramatic and no less entertaining than the one we saw last weekend. Chris Wilder having a word there with Peter Banks, the 4th official. But I don't think he could have any complaints with the decision. It was the right decision. But remember, the winners go into the Premier League. And the big time. Match stats, 4-1 in shots for Sheffield United. They've had 2 on target. They've had 6 touches in the opposition box to the 4. And in fact, I didn't believe this would be possible, but Sunderland, in fact, have had the most possession, for 60% to Sheffield United's 40%. But I guess it's what you do with it that counts.
Well, it is, and they haven't really forced the goalkeeper. I don't think they've had a shot on target in the entire game. The one effort on goal will be the header from Mayenda that was over the crossbar. But aside from that, they haven't really created anything in terms of any real chances of note.
And offside against Wayne Mundo as he miscontrolled it, and Andrew Childrey just giving him a consolation pat on the back there. Well, you look at Isidore there, he could be a potential match winner if it's 1-0 going into the last 25 minutes of this normal time of this final. Could Isidore be the key? But remember, Sunderland have been coming into this off the back of some really poor form, remember, but they have been resting up for the playoffs. When they nearly got in there, they had no chance of going up automatically. Sunderland have been resting players in the hope that they would be ready. They were outplayed for most of the semi-final over the 2 legs against Coventry, and it was mistakes in the first leg that cost Coventry dear, and then the last seconds, when Coventry should have really had a shot at penalties, Dan Ballard, they allowed Dan Ballard to come in unmarked, by the way, and thump the header in off the crossbar, and that was a real shame for Coventry. But that's an old Sunderland favourite, Brian Clough, used to say, it only takes a second to score a goal. Sunderland did just that. But there would be arguments from Coventry's end. Why was 2-3 minutes added on at the end of extra time as Sheffield United go forward with Kiefer Moore. His cross from the left is out of play. On the far side, nice little outside of the foot curling right-footed cross, and out of play for a throw. Wasn't offside though. Just couldn't pick up Tyrese Campbell or Vinny Zuter in the penalty area, Paul.
Yeah, it was a long ball away from Tyrese Campbell. But I'm just looking at a stat of interesting note here. Sheffield United, I'm looking at the head-to-heads on some of the preparation I did for this game, and Sheffield United have only won 36% of the time against Sunderland. They have a losing record against them, whereas Sunderland hold a 45% winning record against Sheffield United. So, although Sunderland have lost their last 4 games going into the playoffs, you've still got a side here that is capable of getting themselves back into it, I think. They just have to start believing in themselves. I think that lack of belief and creativity, it's there for Sunderland, and I think they have to start reviewing the way they're playing at half-time.
Well, up in Scotland, there's been a goal in the Scottish Cup final, and it's gone to Celtic. Dorrington own goal after 39 minutes, and Brendan Rodgers' side on course for a Scottish domestic treble. Have taken a huge step towards that. Dorrington own goal, Celtic leading Aberdeen by 1-0 at Hampden Park in the Scottish Cup FA Cup final. In the Championship player final, it's 1-0 to Sheffield United, and they're on their way again with Tyrese Campbell, the goal scorer, but he runs out of pitch, and it will be a Sunderland throw. Meanwhile, in the cricket, of course, England against Zimbabwe, it's all over now by the shouting. 2:55 all out. Bashir has taken a 6-wicket haul, and England have won the Test match at Trent Bridge by an innings and 45 runs. Well, you can't get much more a comprehensive Test match victory than that, Paul.
Yeah, last time I looked at the England cricket score, they were over 500 against Zimbabwe.
Well, they only needed 1 innings, and obviously Zimbabwe failed to go past the follow-on, were made to follow on by Ben Stokes, and they flopped again with the bat. So, but they're not India, they're not Australia. They're the big two coming up later in the summer. India this summer, and then the Ashes that take place later on at the tail end of the year. That will be where baseball will be really judged then. Meanwhile, in the playoff final, the EFL playoff championship final, it's Sheffield United 1, Sunderland 0, and a goal from Tyrese Campbell is the difference between these two well-balanced sides. Remember, no Luke O'Nien, he started, but his final only lasted at least a grand total of 3 minutes. He went off with an arm injury. As soon as we get news on what happened to him, on the diagnosis, we'll let you know in due course, of course. And then obviously the goal as well. But Patterson in amongst all that and made a great save. Oh, just one moment, I thought Sheffield United were going to get in for number 2, but Dan Ballard beat Brewster to the punch and got the ball back to his goalkeeper, Patterson. So we've got, 15 seconds from the 45 minutes being played. It's going to be a fair amount of stoppage time. I would have fancied about, I would say, what are we going to go for? 4, maybe 5 minutes, considering that we had the injury to O'Nien. We had the VAR check as well, the substitution as well.
7 or 8, in my opinion.
Well, you're right there. You're dead right. It's 8 minutes. So I was going to say what a first half it's been, and I was going to get your assessment, but we've got 8 minutes, so we've got plenty of time to get your assessment over the next 8 minutes. So we play on for another 8 minutes, folks. I think that's probably down to the VAR checking Luke O'Nine's injury. So I think 5 minutes would have been a little bit.
No, we had at least 3 for the VAR, didn't they, while they were messing around?
Yeah, well, that didn't help. 7 or 8, no, I would have expected anyway. So, I mean, I thought 5 minutes would have been enough, but 8 it is. But it gives Sunderland a little bit of heart. If they can get a goal before the break, it will do them a power of good. Chris Wilder, though, with Sunderland having a lot of the possession, Sheffield United, they haven't kept 17 clean sheets this season for nothing. They are a very good defensive unit. But remember, Sheffield United have led in big games before against Burnley. Well, not against Burnley, because they never led against Burnley. They were level against Burnley in that game at Turf Moor. Proceeded to concede a silly penalty, which cost them a shot at automatic promotion, as it turned out in the end. Burnley winning promotion along with Leeds United on the same day. Here's Dan Ballard for Sunderland. They led until about 86 minutes against Leeds at Bramalllane, and then Leeds scored 3 unanswered goals. And that was another crucial factor. And they lost late on at Plymouth as well. So you never back Sunderland out, and they've won a corner now. The ever lively Maeda, who missed that gilt edge chance after Sheffield United had scored, they forced the corner. And this is where Sunderland must strike now. We've played nearly 2 minutes of the 8 here at the end of the first period of this playoff final. Remember, it has to be settled today, either through 90 minutes, extra time, or possibly penalties. It has to be decided in one of those following 3 scenarios. Lafay, the big marquee signing, is going to take the corner. Number 28, right-footed. And it goes, up go the heads, and it was the one that met it. I think it was Ryan Brewster that got back there. Here's Rigg for Sunderland. Left-hand side, gets it out to the far side this time. And Sheffield United, stout defending once again. Dan Neil, the captain, picks up the ball deep inside his own half. Uses Jovi Bellingham. Can he win something that his brother Jude couldn't this season? Jude Bellingham finished second in La Liga, knocked out of the Champions League quarter-finals by Arsenal and Declan Rice on an inspired night at the Emirates. Can he say something for the Bellingham family here? Cross came in from Munda. It was charged away. It's been a battle royale on that far side between Mundle and Chowdhury. I've really enjoyed that battle, I have to say. Here's Mundle again, and again he'll take on Chowdhury. Good goal in there, and a chance almost for Mayenda. Just couldn't get there, and it was just knocked off his toe there by the defender, Jack Robinson. Good challenge by the captain. Now it's on the halfway line, and now Sheffield United's turn to attack, and then the ball runs away, and once again. So we've played, 3.5 minutes of the 8 so far. We're nearly halfway through the 8 minutes allocated. Here is Mayenda again, running at the defenders. He was barged over there, I thought, and the referee sure he got a blow up there. And Sunderland fans appeal for it, but don't get it. It looked a foul by Vinny Sousa. I must admit, Paul, does Sunderland have a case?
I think so. The referee missed that one, I think. It looked like he was bundled over there for sure. But looking at Sheffield United, as the first half has progressed, I really appreciate how well they're set up here. This is a simple 4-4-2 system, yet they have they've defended extremely well in this first half. They've shut out Sunderland. Despite Sunderland having possession, they've not been able to create anything. And I think you have to give Sheffield United some credit for that.
You've got to give him a lot of credit, because Chris Wilder was famous for the 3-5-2 in his first period at the club. But here's Hume. Hume's cross is a good one. Away by Chowdhury inside the penalty area. Breaks to Neil. Neil to Bellingham. Midway inside the Sheffield United half. Now Neil. Cross along the deck. Might break here. Shot came in from Rigg, left-footed outside the penalty area, just to the left of the or just to the right of the day, but it was a scuffed effort and an easy field gather there for Michael Cooper. And with 5 of the 8 minutes gone, Sheffield United still lead Sunderland here by a goal to nil.
And we get Sunderland's first shot on goal in the first half.
Well, if that is to be believed, but it wasn't exactly the most convincing shot. He just scuffed it, really. Just to remind you, Sheffield United have had the ball in the net twice. One counted from Tyrese Campbell, the top scorer. Son, of course, of Kevin Campbell, the late Kevin Campbell. And one from Harrison Burrows from just 20 yards range. It was a terrific effort, but was tagged offside because Vinicius Souza stupidly got himself booked offside. And I think there may be a few words said between those two, Souza and Burrows, at half-time. But
I can imagine Burrows being frustrated. What an effort it was.
Yeah, it was he'll feel robbed because he's been robbed of one of the all-time Wembley goals there. And I'm not mincing my words either. Lafitte with a throw for Sunderland, gets it back again. Left-hand side, Sunderland. Have they got one trick up their sleeve before Chris Kavanagh's half-time whistle? It's been a compelling first 45 minutes here at Wembley Stadium. Offside given. So Paul, with about a minute or two left of the first period to remain in, what's been your assessment of this final so far?
Well, out of the two teams, Sheffield United's plan has worked to perfection. They've defended well, they've created chances when they've gone forward, and they've broken out with incredible and devastating force. They look good from set pieces. Sunderland are finding it difficult to handle Sheffield United defensively. Sunderland have had much of the possession in the first half, but they haven't done anything with it and have been shut down by a really good Sheffield United defence. I think they'll be glad to get in at half-time and review a few things coming out for the second half. There's still only 1-0, so this game is still anybody's. It's up for grabs right now.
Yeah, as the late great Brian Moore once said, very much up for grabs. Here's Patterson for Sunderland. We've got about 30 seconds of the 8 remaining at the end of what's been a rip-roaring first half here at Wembley Stadium. That has to be said. Been very enjoyable. Been a good game to commentate on. And it's been a good advert for the English Football League. Absolutely superb. And they all say that the Premier League is the best league in the world. They might argue that. But in terms of drama and entertainment, the EFL never fails to disappoint as the half-time whistle goes. So Regis de Vries, whose side have had a lot of the possession and a lot of the play, haven't been able to make that advantage tell. But Sheffield United, thanks to a brilliant attack goal started by Kusama, who set the thing in motion, with a lovely ball from the left-hand side, and Tyrese Campbell did the rest. Harrison Burrows scored a cracking, what he thought was a cracking 20-yard power driver with his right foot that went arrowing into the net, but it was chalked off quite rightly as Vinicius Souza had strayed into an offside position. There'll be a few choice words between those two, I'm sure, at half-time. So 1-0 at the break in this playoff final. And, Paul, what do Sunderland now need to do in that half-time in the next 15 minutes to ensure that they can get back into this football match?
Well, I think they're going to have to look at the way that they're playing. They're going to have to create a different way of playing, change the format, change the system, bring on a few substitutes, but change the way that they're playing because it's not working right now. They're not able to break Sheffield United down using the system that they're doing. Sheffield United are closing them out fairly easily. I think they may... they once said that a really good alternative to a 4-4-2 system is a 5-3-2 using wing-backs. I'm not sure if that's possible based on the players that they've got, but they do... they may want to consider doing that, but they certainly need to change some things at half-time if they're going to get back into this game.
OK, Paul, we'll hear from you again in the second half. Just before we go off for a break, a couple of bits of housekeeping to bring you elsewhere. Starting with football in the Scottish Cup final at the moment. They've just got a half-time. Well, they got a half-time a long time ago at Hampden. A Dorrington own goal has given Celtic, treble chasing Celtic, the lead in that Scottish Cup final up at Hampden Park. Aberdeen 0, Celtic 1 is the scoreline there. Aberdeen beat Hearts in the semi-final there a few weeks ago. Celtic winning their semi-final quite easily, 5-0 the other week as well. And in the cricket, if you've jumped heard already, in the cricket, there's also Formula 1. We'll keep you up to date as well. So that's a result now. It's only taken 2.5 days, this test match. And anyone that bought tickets at Trent Bridge tomorrow, I'm sorry, you're not going to get any cricket because England have won the game by an innings and 45 runs today. They declared after the first innings of the first 2 days at 565 for 6 after only less than 100 overs. Zimbabwe were playing their first innings, made 265 all out from just shy of 64 overs, and then they were bowled out in less than 60 overs today. England winning by an innings and 45 runs. Bashir takes 6 wickets as well. Just to remind you that Jack Crawley got 100 in that innings, Ollie Pope got 100, and Ben Duckett scored 171 Pope made, and Jack Crawley got less than that, I think, and Ben Duckett scored a very entertaining 140 on that first day. Williams was the top scorer, incidentally, as for 88 as in that second innings. It was a one-off test, but there's going to be bigger tests to come when India come to town later in the summer, and then the big one down under later this year. So that's what's going on at the moment, and at the moment in the qualifying for the session, Charles Leclerc. That's the wrong one actually. Hang on, let's just say both Mercedes, in fact, are both out of the running for the Monaco Grand Prix tomorrow. Final practice, Charles Leclerc was fastest in final practice. Russell has broken down. Antonelli has crashed as Pistari clips the qualifying. So the qualifying is still going on at the moment, but at the moment it's that's quite a long way to go. So out in qualifying 2, Sainz 11th, Chisonda in the Red Bull 12th, Hulkenberg in the Sauber 13th, George Russell no time in 14th, and Kimi Antonelli no time in the Mercedes. And a long way to go. We'll bring you who gets pole position towards the end of our program here. Anyway, that's the housekeeping done. We're going to be right back in about a couple of minutes time, with about 5 minutes time, in time for the start of this playoff final. Sheffield United winning that playoff final by a Tyrese Campbell goal to 0 on 25 minutes. Join us again. Welcome back. Warm welcome back to Wembley Stadium in this Championship playoff final live on the TC Hub and Storm FM and the TC Hub Twitch channel as Sunderland trail Sheffield United by that Tyrese Campbell goal to nil. I've got some news just in from the Sunderland dressing room. Thank you to Russ for that. It's in concerning Luko now. It's actually turned out it was a dislocated shoulder, but when you're doing the commentary, you can only make physical guesses. We're not health experts, but Russ has done some mulling about during the break and has reported to us that Luko 9 has got a dislocated shoulder. So we're all set almost to go in this second half. Paul James, I think, is back alongside with me. We've had a coffee each and a Kit Kat to digest during the half-time break and digest over what was an interesting first 45 plus minutes of playoff final football. What do you think now Sheffield United need to do as the teams reconvene for the second half?
Well, I think Sheffield United have played very, very well. I don't think they really need to change a great deal. I think the onus is on Sunderland now to try to break Sheffield United down. I suspect we'll see some changes in the second half from Sunderland if it doesn't work out in the first 15 minutes, because at the moment Sheffield United to me look the better side, and what they've got going and their setup appears to be working, whereas Sunderland isn't at the moment.
Absolutely, and both teams are now out for the second half. I wonder if he's great. I wonder if his dad is up there in the sky somewhere, Paul. Tyrese Campbell, of course, son of Kevin Campbell. Kevin Campbell was a great goal scorer in his day. The late, great Kevin Campbell. I wonder if he'll dedicate that to his late, great father.
Yeah, he was a super player, Kevin Campbell, wasn't he? Played for Everton, Arsenal. He was a fantastic player, a true goal scorer. Pace, power. A threat up front, very, very good player. I remember watching him growing up.
We all do, as we've got underway in the second half whilst Paul was talking. Sunderland now attacking the end where all their supporters are. Just to reconvene you with the teams: Cooper in goal for Sheffield United, back forward Chowdhury, Ahmedhodzic, Robinson and Burrows, and then Brewster, Peck, Vinny Sousa and Gustavo Harmer, and then up front Kiefer Moore and Tyrese Campbell, the goal scorer. Sunderland now with Patterson in goal for them. Back four of Hume, Mepham, Bellard and Kirkin. And then in the midfield, two holding midfielders, Neil, the captain, and Bellingham. And then Rigg, Lafie and Mundell further forward. And then up front, Mayenda. So they're the two 11s. So unchanged from the end of the first half. Remember that one alteration, Luko 9 off with a dislocated shoulder in the first few moments of the first half. And on in his place, of course, Chris Mepham. Here is the well-mentioned Mundell, making a good run and a good break there by the defender Kirkin, who wins an early corner here off Ahmedhodzic. And an opportunity now for Sunderland who yield the first corner of this second half. Remember, £220 million. It's a mind-blowing sum of money to whichever of these two great footballing institutions win the playoff final. Mundell is going to take the corner. Will he go short to Lafay, or will he go straight direct towards the penalty area? Left-hand side quadrant, short to Lafay. He will take on Chowdhury, uses the attacker, Rigg, who absolutely knocks that out of play, and then goes back into play. Goal kick to Sheffield United. We've played nearly 2 minutes of this second half.
Good start by Sunderland. The start of the second half, just making themselves, putting themselves about, getting an early corner. It's starting as they mean to go along, but they've had possession in the first half too. They need to really start turning this possession now into chances.
They do. It's these are two big clubs, Sheffield United, the red half of Sheffield. And every Sheffield Wednesday fan will be cheering for Sunderland. You can be assured of that. It could have easily been a Sheffield derby if things had gone Sheffield Wednesday's way. They were in the playoff hunt until the last 3 weeks of the season. And it could have so easily been them facing their city rivals, and that would have because I'm sure the Sheffield derbies are usually pretty competitive. Anyway, we've got this one, and it's a good one so far, and it's not disappointing. Mundell's got himself a throw here for Sunderland. 3 minutes gone in the second half. Short to Bellingham from the throw. Joby Bellingham. Where's Joby on his back? Goes inside. Good turn there by Laffy. He looks a quality player. Bought on big money though. So they need him to show his qualities. Good play again from Harrison Burrows. He doesn't look out of place in a Sheffield United shirt, Burrows. He's been one of the unsung heroes. The Sunderland fans giving it large there. Some with ridiculous looking haircuts, let me tell you. Anyway.
Yeah, that's going to be a meme on the internet, isn't it? You can see
yeah.
it coming.
Very 1980s, that haircut, I have to say. The old mullet back in fashion. The 80s is back in fashion. The decade that fashion forgot. Anyway, here's Circuit now. Let's get on with the serious, and it's Mundell now. Him against Chowdhury yet again. Mundell whips his man. It's a good cross. He'll get a second opportunity here. Mundell shoots, hits Chowdhury. Corner, surely, it has to be. And in fact, it may have come off Brewster last. Regardless of which, it's a Sunderland corner. Better from Sunderland.
Yeah, it's much better from Sunderland. The start of the second half doesn't mean to go on. Let's see if they can break down this Sheffield United defence.
Laffy is going to take the corner. It's going to be directed in the area. Ballard is up. Mundell is in there. Meppen is in there. You can bet your life. And Joby Bellingham. Could the Bellingham get on the end of this one? It's towards the area. Good fist away there by Michael Cooper in the Sheffield United goal. Sunderland are going to reload. And they're going to use their captain, Dan Neal. Gets it out to Laffy, who took the original corner. His cross is a curler. It's a tester. And Kiefer Moore, the defender, striker turned defender, did really well there in getting it away. Moore, who should have had a goal inside the first 70 seconds this afternoon, doing some fantastic defending, but it's all Sunderland at the moment. The throw-in is taken quickly and it's headed away. Now, are we going to see a Sunderland fight back? They've got the top scorer, Isidore, on the bench. So there's still here. There still might be a role for him to play at Wembley today. Here comes Neil. Uses Mundell. Again, he'll take on Brewster and he'll take on Chowdhury. Mundell has gone inside from the left-hand side, and then in the end, he had nothing else to go but to try a speculative shot that has gone, well, 20 rows back, to be quite honest. Goal kick.
Good effort again, though, but it's good build-up play. Again, this is the thing that Sunderland will look to do at the start of this second half. And I suspect it's what Sheffield United were expecting, was Sunderland to come out a bit like a freight train. But they still haven't forced the goalkeeper, Michael Cooper, into any real save as of yet.
They played 10 minutes into the second half in the Scottish Cup final. They played 56 minutes in that final. Still that 39th minute own goal by Dorrington, putting Celtic on course for the treble against Aberdeen. We'll let you know if any more goals going at Hampden Park during the course of the afternoon. We will be here until the end, the bitter end. We'll bring you the presentation. We'll bring you everything in this 2025 playoff final. Kicked off at 3. The second half's only 6 minutes old, and we're nearly at 20 past 4. British summertime here on a Saturday afternoon. Wherever you are in the world, listen to us on the TC Hub. Thank you for joining us. Of course, we've got the Man of the Match Award still in operation. And Paul James, my esteemed colleague, who's had a fantastic season himself, so many big games under his belt, is going to choose that later on in the piece. But here it goes, Mundell. What a good run this is by Mundell. Deflects off Chowdhury. Half deflects. Joby Bellingham on the edge of the area. Can't turn, get a shot away. Neil might. He uses another Sunderland player, which was Hume. And it's knocked away by Sheffield United. This is good disciplined defending by Chris Wilder's men. They're digging in there, using their pure Yorkshire grit. Now Peck gets it forward. A good ball down the left-hand side. And now an opportunity. And Cameron's raining in there, but Kiefer Moore might go alone. Kiefer Moore shoots, comes out to the edge of the area. Finish, and he was, what an opportunity for Brewster. It was on the edge of the box, and there was a collision on the edge of the area. Nothing punished though by Mr. Kavanagh, the referee. We play on. My goodness me, it was one end, Sunderland attacking at one end, and then Moore led the charge at the other. Ended up with Bruce having a shot charged away.
Well, we've seen it a few times in the game, haven't we? Sheffield United able to break out so quickly. Had he played the ball across to Tariq Campbell, he would have had a better chance, I think. I think that's a chance given away by Sheffield United there.
And as Sir Ace Winston would say, Sheffield United have been the daddies at the lightning fast counter-attacks during the course of the season, the regular season. The Sunderland are still in with a shout of rescuing this playoff final. 46% of the second half so far has been played in the Sheffield United half, only 13% in the Sunderland half, 41% in the central areas of the pitch. But that means nothing when your team's a goal down in a playoff final. Statistics mean absolutely diddly squat. And Neil takes it for Sunderland. The captain gets it out of the far side, and here's Hume. Another cross needed from Hume. It's too much on it. Can't reach any Sunderland player inside the penalty area. There's only two of them in there. One of them was Maeda and the other was Mundle, and they were never going to reach it. Chowdhury now to Brewster. Brewster now being put under pressure. He was certainly fouled there. He was taken out quite comprehensively there. And the referee is going to give a free kick, and he's just telling everybody to calm down. And that's good, sensible refereeing. What a challenge that was, by the way, when from Chris Rigg, incidentally, at the other end, when Brewster was about to pull the trigger not 5 minutes ago.
Beautifully
just in a
timed.
replay of it now.
If he gets it wrong, it's a penalty. So it's beautifully timed by Rigg there. And Sunderland live to fight another day, because I'll tell you, if they'd have got a penalty from that and they would have scored 2-0 at this point, I think could have sunk the Black Cats.
Yeah, or the Mackhams, as they like to call themselves. Well, they need to strike a lucky Black Cat at the moment if they're going to get back into this final, Sunderland. 10 minutes gone in the second half. There's still 35 minutes of this to go of normal time. And there's going to be a huge chunk of stoppage time with substitutions bound to come at some point. Just to remind you of the rules for the substitutions, incidentally. Sheffield United, they have 5 each. Sunderland, remember, have already used 1 enforced. That was a defensive change because of the injury to Luke O'Nien, who's got a dislocated shoulder, if you joined us late. As Kirky now goes forward for Sunderland, charged away by Chowdhury. He's had a good match, I think, at right back today. Hamza Chowdhury, he's had a marvellous game so far. Certainly will be up on the list for man of the match. From my own personal point of view, but it's not me choosing the man of the match, it's PJ alongside with it's going to be choosing that. Here's Joby Bellingham for Sunderland. I have to say, I've been very disappointed with him. There were a lot of responsibility on his shoulders to maybe run the midfield, maybe make Sunderland tick a bit better. But I have to say, Joby Bellingham, for a player of his undoubted skill and undoubted talent, hasn't really turned up today on the biggest stage of them all. And that's a big disappointment from Sunderland's point of view. Yeah,
it's not been his day, has it? At least so far. But he's got the talent to change things, so we'll wait and see.
Well, if Sheffield United can score from this, it might be asking a bit too much. But back comes Sirkin and Dan Ballard to quell the danger there that Therese Campbell possesses. But it's Gus Armour, in my point of view, that's running the show in the midfield. It's him that's been the real major difference. Yes, Tyrese Campbell scored the goal, but Harmer's turned up on the biggest stage of them all. Lost the playoff final with Commenttary, of course. But here comes Sunderland. Shot comes in, charged away. They have another goal here. Well, Neil have a goal. That's a poor ball from the Sunderland captain. Out of play. And Neil knows. He apologises to Mundle. I think he was trying to knock the ball out towards Mundle. And prayers, even after 57 minutes being offered by Sunderland supporters, still 1-0. But Sheffield United, at the moment, PJ, you have to say, defending really stoutly as we're about to see Roberts come on for number 11, Chris Rigg.
Yeah, I think they've got to start changing things up as it stands. They want to try to see if they can break down this Sheffield United side. They've had a lot of the early possession, but nothing so far created of any real note.
Yes, Patrick Roberts who's coming on for Chris Rigg. And he unlocked the door Got 3 goals in all competitions this season. There's Luke O'Nien. He's in a plaster cast, I'm afraid. Dislocated shoulder. So, well, that's him out now for the rest of the season, quite literally. Yellow card going to be issued here. Foul on Mundo. And it's the goal scorer, I think, that's got it. They got the card. Tyrese Campbell. Oh, is it Rhian Brewster? No, it's Rhian Brewster, actually. It's Brewster. From the first angle, the referee looked as if he was waving it in Tyrese Campbell's direction, but it turns out it's the former Liverpool youngster, Rhian Brewster, who picks up the bookable offence. Right.
Challenge from behind. I don't think you can argue with that.
No, it was a challenge from behind. You're quite right, Paul. 58 gone. 58 and a half gone. Free kick. Poor, really, from Dan Neil. And Sheffield United now, Paul, 32 minutes away from breaking the biggest playoff curse in playoff history. And they've been going for nearly 40 years, these playoffs now. It's frightening. It's absolutely frightening. Sheffield United in 9 previous playoff attempts have never won it. For a club as big as them, it's not good enough, but they could break all that criticism and all that jinx if they can just hang on now, Paul, for the remaining 31 minutes plus stoppage time.
Yeah, they've done remarkably well, Sheffield United, in this game. Sunderland have really struggled to break them down, and there's only 1 goal in it, though. Anything can happen.
Yep, anything can happen. In Scotland, in the Scottish Cup final, 66 gone in that one. Still that Dorrington own goal deciding things for Celtic. They're on for the treble up in Scotland, the domestic treble in Scotland, as things stand. They've had a great season. Scottish League Cup against Rangers. They were lucky to win that on penalties earlier on in the season. They won the league by a canter. They reached the last 32 of the Champions League against all the odds, really. And here they are on the verge of more Scottish greatness. And if they do achieve it, respect has to go to Brendan Rodgers' side. Meanwhile, here comes Sheffield United now looking to, with Sidney Peck now on the left-hand side. Good ball played in there by Peck. Good challenge there again by Mepham, because Tyrese Campbell, even though he was an acute angle, was looking to get, almost got him behind the Sunderland defence. But the likes of Ballard and Mepham didn't let Sunderland down there. Throw to Sheffield United in line with the 6-yard box.
Yeah, absolutely super piece of defending there. And it's once again, it's you're seeing it from Chris Mepham there. It's just really, really good play.
And Sheffield United are going to freshen things up now with Brooks and Callum O'Hare. Maybe Wilder's team just need a little bit of fresh impotence, maybe, certainly in the midfield. Here's that Jack Robinson long throw we were talking about. And the goalkeeper did really well there, Patterson. He had to come through a clutch of players. There must have been about 4. There must have been a cluster of about 7 or 8 different players from either side. He came through, took the lot, and took it superbly. And he's got Bellingham on his way down the left-hand side. And he uses Mundo. And Mundo now. Sunderland have only got 1 in the area. But he has to go back for Bellingham. Now uses Sirkin. Now then, can Neil find something here for Sunderland? And now, can they find something? Chip in there towards Joby Bellingham. But it's too close to the goalkeeper, who takes it comfortably in his penalty area. And Sunderland at the moment not asking enough questions over the course. They've had a lot of possession, Paul. That has to be said. But they just haven't asked enough questions of the Sheffield United goalkeeper, Michael Cooper.
No, and this ball into the box is the prime example of it. It's the final ball into the box, or the final play, is not there for Sunderland. And a lot of it is to do with some good defending from Sheffield United. I give Sheffield United credit for that. But a lot of this is very simple errors. Like, that ball into the box was a very poor ball. And we've seen that a few times in the game as well.
Bearing that in mind then, how long does Regis de Vries now give it before he brings on his top scorer Isidore? Because it's going to be a time now where we will have to go on, regardless of how fit he is, because he's the top scorer with 13. It has to be a question of time before he brings him on. He may as well go for it.
Well, yes, but I think it's all well and good bringing him on, but they have to have players on the pitch who can deliver the ball to him. And right now, it's that final ball that's being delivered into the box or through the defence that isn't working at the moment for Sunderland, and it's unfortunate right now. But I don't see where they're going to get back into it, like playing like that, playing balls into the box like that.
Well, they need support in the area to be able to get the service to the strikers anyway. Sheffield United lose possession again, midway inside their own half, but then get it back rather fortuitously, but they've earned that look. And here's Kusama, who in most people's polls would be up there for man of the match. And he's certainly done well. Sidney Peck, he's had a quiet game by his own standards as Harmer tries to lay the ball into Kiefer Moore. And Moore just couldn't control it, unfortunately. But Sheffield United, when Harmer gets on that ball, he's just a colossus. Now, we're seeing substitutions. And we're going to see who's coming off for Sheffield United.
Looks like it's Tyrese Campbell.
Tyrese Campbell, the goal scorer, is coming off, and he's going to be replaced by Callum O'Hare.
I think Brewster's also coming off as well.
Yes, Rhian Brewster. Yes, Rhian Brewster's going to come off as well. So there is Brewster. On a yellow card, of course, Tyrese Campbell, what a moment for him. I mean, whatever happens, they cannot take that goal away from him. It was a quality goal. Harmer set it up. But how cool was that finish? Left-footed into the far right-hand corner of the net. And he enjoyed that. And it was a goal his late great dad would have been proud of himself. So Callum O'Hare, former commentary player, will now run the show alongside his old mate, Gus Harmer. And there is Brooks as well. He's going to come on for Rhian Brewster. So Chris Wilder, I think, has made the right call, freshened things up a bit because both players come off. They did look a little bit knackered. Foul there on Ballard. Or is it? No, it's not. Kirkin, rather, I should say. It is now. Free kick to Sunderland. And the referee's going to have to book. You know, you can't not retreat 10 yards and get away with that. Unless the referee's... Yeah, it wasn't taken from the... It wasn't taken from the... It wasn't 10 yards back. That should be an automatic yellow card under the laws of the game. But maybe the referee... On this occasion, Chris Kavanagh applying the spirit. But
yeah, I think he's just trying to let the game flow, and I applaud that.
Yeah, and we've been the biggest critics of referees over the last... I certainly have on the commentary for the biggest part of 3.5 years I've been doing this. Anyway, here is Mundle. Is he going to be the one that's going to make things happen? Now then, a chance here now for Patrick Roberts. Crossing did a good one, but again, no Sunderland player gambling, but they have got a corner. 25 to play, plus injury time. Can Sunderland get the equaliser? Lafie will swing this in, right-footed from the left-hand side. The near side as we look, they've had 6 corners. And he get one, pinpoint, onto Dan Ballard's head perhaps. Maybe Joe Bellingham's head. Mundo is in there. Ballard is in there. Referee's not happy with some pushing and shoving going on. Kiefer Moore involved, inevitably.
Where's now Quinn?
Where's now Quinn when you need him? He was about 6'8", wasn't he, in these days?
Oh, yeah.
Here comes the corner. It's slung along the deck this time. Flicked on. But outside the penalty area, then an overhead kick, which has gone on the roof of the net. From Roberts. Goal kick to Sheffield United, and the danger yet again passes for the Blades.
Not enough created again by Sunderland, and once again it's a final ball.
There is now Quinn in the picture there.
Yeah,
he's got a tasty looking wife, I must admit. I'm not going to mention the next bit. It's not for consumption on a Saturday afternoon.
And that'll be
Anyway, here comes Sunderland. 67 minutes gone. It's Sheffield United in possession now. And a yellow card. And it was inevitable. Chris Kavanagh there. It was Joey Bellingham. And it was a clear tug there on Vinny Souza by Mundle, who's looking at a very frustrated figure, Paul.
Yeah, I think at the moment as well, like that was definitely a yellow card. You can't pull the jersey back like that and expect not to get booked. I think as well as Chris Kavanagh has done today, he has to apply some discipline in those situations. But we've seen it again from Sunderland. They're just the final ball just isn't there. It's the ball into the box. It's just not there. It's way off. And,
yeah, it's not been good enough, has it?
It's not. For all the possession that they've had, they've had one shot on goal, which was a weak effort, which the goalkeeper made a very comfortable save from.
Well, penny for Regis de Brice's thoughts. There's Vinnie Jones. You wouldn't want to mess with him on a bad day if you face Wimbledon back in the late 80s and early 90s. He used to be a hog carrier before he became a footballer, Vinnie Jones, on a building site. Now an ex-footballer and now a movie star of his own esteem in Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels, amongst other films. I think he had the looks to be an actor, actually.
Also appeared in what's now called WWE wrestling.
Oh, mistake now, chance here, saved, and Sunderland just about get away with it. Oh my goodness, Sheffield United had a glorious opportunity presented to them by some very lax Sunderland defending, and Anthony Patterson has saved Sunderland and has practically got them out of jail, Paul. My goodness me, there's a Sheffield United player on the deck near the halfway line. And we were going on about WWE as that happened, and we'll come back to the chance in a minute because Sunderland are on the break here. And this is a good run there by Roberts into the penalty area. No foul, says the referee. Kavanagh waved his arms out to left and right side respectively. And there's going to be, I think, there's activity on the Sunderland bench. But should this mistake from Sirkin been punished, Paul James?
Oh, it certainly should have been. It certainly should have been. This is either the defender didn't get the shout, but somebody else was behind him, or he'd fallen half asleep. I'm not sure which. It looks like it's Ben Brereton who may be coming on, I think. Yeah. But it was very sloppy defending. They were nearly punished there. That was nearly the game all said and done at that point. Because I think a second goal would kill this game off at this point.
Well, is it the turning point with 20 minutes to go, I wonder? And look at that. Gus Harmer is suffering the effects. If Gus Harmer is rolled out for the rest of this game, that has got to be a confidence booster for Sunderland. He is down on his haunches. He's been down for somewhat 2 or 3 minutes. He's receiving treatment. Looks like it's on the left knee there. And as Paul quite rightly pointed out, Ren Brereton Diaz, formerly in Nottingham Forest and Blackburn Rovers, is about to come on. But what he does do now is give Regis de Brice now a chance now to think, right, we've got 20 minutes plus stoppage time to play. Do I bring on Isidore? He's my top scorer with 13 goals. He could get us out of jail. Or do I just...
It is Harmer.
Yeah, it looks like Harmer's going off. And that's a real blow for Sheffield United. He has made the game tick, by the way. And I just wonder, psychologically, will that now play? It's very hard to predict at this point, but will that play into Sunderland's hands that their playmaker, the man that makes Sheffield United tick, is no longer going to be on the field?
Well, I think it certainly could, because at the end of the day, you're looking at it is Isidore coming on.
Isidore is going to come on, and as I thought, and I must be a sidekick. Isidore's coming on, and also Watson is coming on as well. The blonde hair, the lad with the blonde hair. So the Brice is going for it. He has to go for it.
I don't think he has much of a choice, JB, to be honest, at this point.
Well, with Harmer off the field, why not? Mundelov, obviously Isidore on, and Neil is going off, and Watson is now on. So, can these two subs get Sunderland back into this playoff final? Just remember this. Go on.
That's what they'll be hoping for, because I think it's smart of them to bring on an additional creative player as well as Isidore, in the hope that it might open some doors in terms of creating.
Well, one of these two teams, the door will open for a pot of gold at the end of a £220 million rainbow and Premier League football for at least 12 months. That's the prize on offer, plus a nice, beautiful silver playoff trophy for the winners. Losers do not go to the Royal Box on playoff finals, incidentally, just the winners. But still, in fact, that shot that Michael Cooper filled has not been counted as a shot on target, according to Sky, the television company. So, in their eyes, it wasn't a shot on target.
So they had no shots on target in the entire game.
No, they've had no shots on target, according to the television caption. I don't know who does stats for the Football League. I don't know if it's Opta or whatever it is, but they've certainly not counted that effort that was fielded by Cooper a shot on target. But it could be argued it could have been a shot on target, but, well, your guess is as good as mine, folks. Header back. Ballard having to get that away, and they haven't done so, and Sheffield United could be in for the kill, but what an opportunity. They just can't get this second goal, Sheffield United, at all. Moore with a header down.
But what I'll say is, JB, look at the way they're pressing. Look at the way they're pushing and forcing the Sunderland defence into errors.
Yes.
They're doing exactly what Sunderland should be doing.
Well, Brooks has made 2 chances out of nothing and has failed on both occasions. And you can't afford to miss chances, Sheffield United. Look at their playoff record. But they're going to have a go now. Here's Kiefer Moore, 25 yards out from goal. He goes down. The referee doesn't want to know. He went down very easily, Kiefer Moore, I have to say. Isidore fails to control the ball. And the ball now back to Cooper. In Scotland, in the Scottish Cup final, they played 81 minutes. There's 9 to go in that. Aberdeen 0, Celtic 1. Dorrington own goal. After 39 minutes, deciding the game up in Scotland. If you've got any more comments, please let us know. And please ring in and please message in. Keep the comments clean. We are a family show. We've got 15 minutes to go in this playoff final. And the reason why we're running a little bit behind the Scottish Cup final that kicked off at around about the same time is we had a mammoth 8 minutes of stoppage time. But the injury to Luke O'Nien and the injury to and the VAR check when Harrison Burrows scored a goal that was offside. Harrison Burrows wasn't himself offside. It was Vinny Suna. And now a chance now in the other end. A goal for Sunderland! It's Maeda with his 12th of the season. And Sunderland have got themselves out of jail with 15 minutes to spare at Wembley. Luke O'Nien comes down the touchline, plaster cast and all. And the Sunderland fans are in complete and utter ecstasy. And they're back in this game, PJ, with 15 minutes to spare. 1-1.
Well, for the first time in this game, the Sheffield United defence just falls apart here. It's a beautiful ball splitting the defence to Maeda, and Maeda just puts the ball in the roof of the net. And let me tell you, we got a brand new cup final.
An all new ball game to this playoff final. And what a coaching finish. Left-footed, right-footed. And Michael Cooper, who hasn't had a shot really to save, he's beaten. And in fairness to Cooper, there was nothing at all he could have done with that. De Vries, is it written in the stars? Are those 2 misses by the substitute, Brooks, going to be the crucial turning point? Is the injury to Harmer, who was running the show for something like nearly 70 minutes, again, going to be the crucial turning point in this match? You just have to wonder.
Well, at the moment, it's very difficult to say, but I mean, it was a super ball, split the defence. You're correct, there's really nothing the goalkeeper could have done. He just lifts the ball into the roof of the net.
And he's the second youngest ever goal scorer in a division in a championship playoff final. Julian Joachim's the youngest in 93. And in fact, in the same game, the third youngest was Sean Taylor for Swindon Town in the same game in 93. This has been a compelling playoff final. Now it's Chris Wilder with all the pressure. Sunderland have had all the play, and those 2 chances for Brooks now. Are they going to come back? There's a scarf I can see. Sunderland till I die. Sunderland have not died yet. They're still alive. And dare I say it, they're the team in the ascendancy, and there's still 12 minutes for this to be won.
Yes, I agree with you, JB. I think they've got the win behind them now, Sunderland, so they need to press forward and try to grab a winner and pick up the victory in normal time.
Is it going to be 10th time unlucky for Sheffield United in the playoffs? To finish there with 92 points and not to go up at all, even via this route, would be a real tragedy for them and their supporters who have contributed so much to the championship this season, one must say.
Well, to finish on 94 points and stay
94
down would be a tragedy, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and if they hadn't have blown up at the likes of Millwall and Plymouth in the regular season and Burnley, well, they could have easily gone out automatically, and not Leeds and Burnley. It's by margins in these divisions where promotion and playoffs and relegation can be settled. And there's a Sheffield United fan who just literally can't bear to look. Even that was in tears. But it's the Sunderland fans who are shouting and celebrating now, and it's them who are on top in this playoff final. Here's Joby Bellingham. Bellingham shoots from outside the area and just over the top of the bar. Must have been at least 2, maybe 3 inches over. Best we've seen from Joby Bellingham by far. And only just over the top as we look again at this equalising goal by Mayenda. He's 12th of the season from the number 12.
Yes, and all of a sudden we're seeing Sunderland now starting to pick apart Sheffield United from in and around their own penalty area.
It's all Sunderland now, and they have possession again with Joby Bellingham, the brother of Jude, and he gets it up towards Isidore, the top scorer with 13. With that goal, Mayeda now is 1 behind him now. If he scores again, he'll be the joint top scorer. And the substitutions making a real impact for Regis de Vries. Sunderland, 3 years ago, were in League One. They were languishing in League One. The ball is popped, by the way, and will need a replacement. Not often you see that in a Wembley Cup final.
No, that's true.
They're using Puma balls in the Football League this season. And
They're
in fact,
nice ball, aren't they? They're very nice design.
So much so that the Premier League have signed a deal to replace Nike balls with Puma balls next season. So they're going to use Puma balls in the top flight for the first time ever. I still prefer the good old-fashioned mitre ball.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Heavier though.
Yeah, but they were the daddy of the footballs. They really were. But time moves on. And they're still using the FA Cup, by the way, the mitre balls. They used a nice silver number last week at Wembley. Meanwhile, Sheffield United come forward, and then I thought for a moment they might have gone in there and sneaked a second one in, but some very good defending there by Dan Ballard, I think, getting back there just in the nick of time. 81 minutes gone in this playoff final. 1-1 the score. Sheffield United in possession in the. Oh, and Aberdeen have scored as well. Another own goal. We could be going to extra time in the Scottish Cup final, folks. Casper Schmeichel own goal. Aberdeen have a lifeline to Hampden Park, like Sunderland. So, wouldn't it be great for Scottish football if Aberdeen won the Scottish Cup? Brilliant. Casper Schmeichel own goal.
Well, about that, I mean, it's rare that you see Casper Schmeichel put the ball in his own net.
Well, you'll be able to watch that on the television, on the iPlayer later, that Scottish Cup final. But if you're listening to this playoff final with us on TC Hub, you've picked the right place. And I'm just wondering, Paul, whether just hold back until stoppage time before choosing the man of the match, because at this moment in time, these were the Brooks chance. This is the first one of 69 minutes. That's what to save from Patterson with his legs. Then he had another chance not long after that, which he failed to take, and there you go, the proof's in the pudding.
Yeah, I mean, I have to be honest with you. It's the chances that Sheffield United had before the goal scored by Sunderland could well prove to be the difference in this game. Super save as well. You've got to go back to the goalkeeper's kick save, Anthony Patterson's kick save. That could be a huge difference in this game.
I mean, which is the more better said, the one at the start or that one on 69?
Oh, definitely the one at the start. That I don't know how I'm still shocked at how we got to that.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just, I mean, they're the moments that cup finals or playoff finals are won and lost. And here's one who's certainly epitomises the spirit of Sunderland. Dan Ballard, he plays the ball in, and Serkin's cross is deflected out, but it's a throw-in. And I wonder if Brooks looks back tonight, if Sheffield United lose this, and think, why didn't I just show a bit more composure? Why didn't I just be a bit more ruthless? Why did I freeze?
There'll always be regrets, won't there? There'll always be opinion. The losing side will all look back and say, what if I'd have done this? What if I'd have done that?
But nobody's lost yet, so...
Well, I mean, but that's what they'll do, right? That's just human nature to be like that.
Yeah, it's all. I mean, we're now dealing in 6 minutes plus injury time now at the end of a long, arduous season, which has been nearly 300 days, a whole year in the making. For this one moment now, Sunderland have a free kick. Clear shirt pulled out. Get a card out here. It's going to be a yellow one. And,
correct decision.
And it is a correct decision. It was Roberts. And it was Sidney Peck who'd illegally barged him, or was it Brereton Diaz? It wasn't. It could have been either one of the two, to be honest with you. It could have been either Peck, or it could have been Brereton Diaz. And as it turns out, it was Brereton Diaz who got the yellow card, as it Chilean international, of course. But we've now got 4.25 minutes to go. 5.25 minutes to go. For one of these two teams to prevent the necessity of extra time and to send one of these teams into the Premier League. Goal comes in. Cooper with a decisive punch. It will go out for a Sunderland throw. 10 yards from the Sheffield United area. On the left-hand side, Bellingham throws it. That's to go back to halfway, mind you. Mepham hasn't let anyone down since coming on for Luke 09. Here's Bellingham again. Just miscontrolled the pass from Serkin. They've really gone for it, Sunderland. They had to go for it. And I just get the feeling, PJ, with it being less than 4.5 minutes to go, one of these two teams are going to get a gilt-edged chance in this final. Let's just pause for a moment. Now the ball out of play. We'll bring PJ in now for his views.
Well, it's really on a knife edge now, and I couldn't honestly predict where it's gonna go. Definitely the better chances are for to Sheffield United. Since the equaliser by Mayenda, you have to say that the ascendancy has been with Sunderland, but they've not been able to finish it as of yet.
I think we could have a lengthy stoppage here, Paul, because Brereton Diaz does not look in a good way at all. He looks in a complete heap on the ground. The medical team were with him in about seconds. This does not look good for Brereton Diaz. And Russ says, come on, you black cats. And we might end up going to extra time, folks. White Maggot says, I hope you're all keeping well. I am. Come on, Blades, he says. Who has played better? Well, Sunderland have had the better of the play in the second half, deserve their equaliser. Just looking at the replay of the Sunderland goal again. It's been a compelling final. It's been, well, if the Europa, in stark contrast to the Europa final between two of the biggest sides in the country, which was frankly a shambolic exhibition of football, yeah, despite the fact that Tottenham won it, this has been a fantastic exhibition of proper cup final football. And I tell you what, if those two teams had competed in the Europa League final, they would have done the event justice rather than Tottenham and Manchester United.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, and I did tell you it was one of the worst finals I've seen since the 1990 World Cup final.
We don't know what happened there.
Yeah.
Argentina went down to 9 men. Maradona nearly got himself sent off. and Germany won a penalty. I'm not even going to go into what Klinsmann did that night, but that's irrelevant.
It was
Jordan
a good
Henderson
night,
there's
it
a
was
familiar,
terrible.
yeah, there's a familiar figure in the crowd. Jordan Henderson, former Liverpool captain, Sunderland man as well. Played in the Premier League for Sunderland in his youth. Sunderland man, Sunderland born, Sunderland bred. And even he is being tested by the stress of the players. Listen, we have no vested interest in these two clubs. Both Paul and myself are Burnley fans, big Burnley fans. And even we're nervous in the commentary box. It's that sort of a knife edge, these playoff finals. No matter what team you support or what team's involved, you've always got tension in the air when it comes to a playoff final. I'm tense, and I'm not even got a vested interest in any of these two teams whatsoever.
Well, it looks like Sheffield United, there's action on the Sheffield United bench there. Looks like there's two others maybe coming on now. I understand that you do get an extra substitution if it causes
You get a
time,
six.
yeah.
You do get an extra substitution. You get one each, so it's usually 5, and then you get a 6-1 in the second. Yeah. We should know that, Paul. We did do the Nottingham Forest Brighton Cup tie the other week, so. Yeah, and that was a game to forget. This one is unforgettable because it's been to and fro. We've had chances, we've had spills, thrills, we've had the lot. Apart from possibly a red card, perhaps.
But you don't want to see that anyway.
No, of course not. In a showpiece, you want to keep the full complement of the 22. Right, anyway, substitution time. And it's going to be Tom Davis, the former Everton player, going to come on. Also, Tom Cannon, who's got 1 goal this season. That came at Turf Moor against Burnley. Sidney Peck is going to come off. He's one of the players coming off. And I would assume Kiefer Moore will be the other one, I presume.
I think it's Ben Brereton, actually, because of the injury.
Yes, Brereton Diaz, yes. Because he's gone straight on, yes. That's a shame, really, for Brereton Diaz. He looked in a right heap. And on heart, can I just wish Brent Brereton Diaz the very best. As we also wish Luke O'Neill all the best when he was taken off as well. Anyway, throw to Sheffield United. Nearly in line with the penalty area. It's Robinson's throw. It's come away. There's a bit of a crowd scene. There's 2 Sheffield United players collided, and they're both in a heap. And one of them is Tom Cannon, who's just actually literally come on. And I can't tell who the other is because they can't see any number. It's Ahmed Odzic, who's the other one, the centre-back. 7 minutes at the end of the second half.
Well, it's still possible to win this game in regulation, JB. I mean, I think it just needs one of these sides to really take the ascendancy and see if they can steal this game without the need of it going to an extra 30 minutes of football.
Well, speaking of extra time, we could be on for it in the Scottish Cup final. Because we've played 7 minutes there, still 1-1. And it looks as if that game is going to go the distance. It looks like extra time at Andon Park. Will it be extra time here at Wembley in the playoff? Sheffield United and Sunderland at 1-1 in this final. It's been a terrific start to a playoff weekend which promises so much. Maeda has just missed a glorious opportunity in that Scottish Cup final, incidentally. The other playoff final is between Wimbledon and Walsall, and we've got the All London affair tomorrow between Charlton and Leyton Orient. They're the other 2 playoff finals, and they've got to go some to match the drama and the excitement of the Championship playoff final, the real marquee event out of the 3 playoff finals, and that's not doing leagues 1 or 2 down.
Yeah, I agree. It's the Championship one is the one, isn't it, with the amount of money involved and everything else.
There's still a break in play whilst Ahmed Odzic has been tended to by the physio team. I think Sheffield United, have made 4 substitutions. I think this is their last one. I'm not sure if they've got the concussion sub to come on as well. Obviously, protocols have to be maintained throughout. Both teams' hierarchies are in town today. And we're still knowing who's going to win this playoff final. It's so evenly balanced, so very evenly poised. It's toed and froed and all that jazz, all the way from one end to the other. It's been remarkable. We're going to stay right to the bitter end here on the TC Hub and Storm FM for the conclusion of this, whether it goes to extra time or penalties or even after the 90 minutes. These are the goals again. That's the goal from Campbell. That's just chipped it over the goalkeeper. It was a very cultured finish. And then that was just as cultured finish by Meenda. Two really good goals. And, of course, we had the Harrison Burrows one in between. That was disallowed, quite rightly so, for offside. But I felt very sorry for Harrison Burrows because if he tried that another 100 times, Paul, he would never have struck it as sweeter as that.
Yeah, exactly. It was a super strike. It was unfortunate for him, but I think it was important that the correct decision was made.
Yes, absolutely. I do feel for Harrison Burrows in that, but the officials got it right. And I have to say a word for Chris Cameron, the referee. Big game, so much at stake. In my opinion, I don't know how you feel, Paul, he hasn't put a foot wrong throughout so far.
Oh yeah, it's been very good. He's been let the game flow. He's not shown the yellow cards except when he's absolutely had to.
Yeah, good example of good refereeing as well. And he's done his profession proud. Well, some referees this season have done their profession ill, naming no names. Anyway, here comes Sunderland, looking to win this game. There's going to be time added on at the end of time added on. And here's a chance for Watson. Breaking forward. Watson shoots. Watson scored! Watson, the substitute, has scored for Sunderland. There may not need to be a necessity for extra time. He takes his shirt off. Runs to the Sunderland fans. And Sunderland, like in 1973, like in 2022, are going to win a Wembley surely in 2025. And after 7 years away, they are going to be a Premier League team again next season. Watson the scorer. PJ, what a goal. And if it's going to decide a playoff final, what a way to win it.
Oh, that was an absolutely superb finish. That was a superb finish. It would have been so much easier for him to let the blood rush to his head, lift his foot back and blaze it over the crossbar. But he calmly placed it perfectly in the corner, beyond the reach of Michael Cooper. You never would have thought it until the equalising goal went in. And Sheffield United will be heartbroken. This run seems as it will continue. And they must be absolutely heartbroken because, to be honest with you, aside from that goal and this goal, they haven't really created much. Sheffield United, in my opinion, deserve the win, but it's going to be a cruel end to their season.
Well, to be honest, it doesn't really matter. It's goals that count, and it's going to be Sunderland's name on the trophy. It's going to be Sunderland's name on the trophy. What a fantastic turnabout. It really has. And when you look at the statistics, if Finney Souza had not been offside on that goal and that disallowed goal, if Brooks had not taken those chances, what a different story it might have been. And it's going to be possibly 10th time unlucky for Sheffield United, who led on the 25th minute. They led at half-time through Tyrese Campbell. But the Sunderland substitutions have borne fruit once again. They've turned it round. And we've played 7 minutes, but there's going to be a hell of a lot more at the end of this game, Paul. You can rest assured of that. The substitutions being made as I talk to you now. And Maeda, who got the equaliser, is coming off. And on in his place comes number 33, Gjeld. Ends at Leo Gjeld, a Norwegian. Same nationality as a certain Mr. Haaland. And we get underway again. I don't know if Sheffield United made a substitution, Paul. It's chaos here. It's chaos.
Absolute chaos. But
A yellow card has been shown as well. Foul there by one of the Sunderland players, and it was Kirkin who got the yellow card. Nasty challenge, it must be said. Referee bang on again. So, Paul, now that Sunderland are winning, I have to ask you, player of the match time, sponsored, of course, by Commentary Services.
All right, well, today's man of the match, for me, has to go, in my opinion, to Dan Ballard. He's worked hard all the way through the game. It's so easy for me to give it to somebody like Mundell, or even to the substitute Tom Watson that was involved in both goals. But I'm giving it to Dan Ballard. His hard work in defence for Sunderland today has helped them a long way, and I think he deserves it. He's worked very, very hard today. So today's man of the match, as sponsored by Commentary Services, goes to Sunderland's number 5, Dan Ballard. And
he is Mr. Sunderland, Dan Ballard. He's a brave defender. He'll throw his body into any situation. He's such a... He breathes Sunderland, does Dan Ballard. He's a local man, a local hero. Scored that crucial goal in the semi-finals against Commentary. Ahmed Odzic is now off and Serki is on, but now it's all in the eyes of Chris Cabin, and now we've played 2 minutes over the 7. We're going to play at least 100 minutes of this, but we don't mind. In the Scottish Cup final, it's gone to extra time. They've played 4 minutes. It's still 1-1 between Aberdeen and Celtic. England won the one-off test match against Zimbabwe by an innings and 45 runs, but the big story here in the world of sport today is that Sunderland are just seconds away from being a Premier League club for the first time in 7 years. And what now for Chris Wilder and Sheffield United? Will the squad be broken up? Will there have to be wholesale changes made? They led the table with 5 games to go of the regular season, Sheffield United. They blew up at Plymouth. They blew up against Millwall. They blew up at Oxford. They blew up at Burnley, which cost them automatic chances. They got back on form with wins over Cardiff and Blackburn Rovers. They thrashed Bristol City over 2 legs, 6-0 overall. But today, of all days, when it counted the most, they've been found wanting, and they've conceded a free kick, and they're celebrated as if it's just scored. Chowdhury is going completely potty. I can understand frustrations are boiling over, but the referee got that right. And look at Jordan Henderson, a Sunderland man, Sunderland born, Sunderland bred. He's got a smile on his face as broad as the Wearside River. Well, what a performance in the second half by Sunderland. They've managed to turn it round, but really they've managed to do it without having many chances, really only having the 2 that I mentioned. And that was enough. And Sheffield United have missed a few of their chances, and they'll look back on that with great regret. Yeah, massive regret, and it's going to be 10th time unlucky. We still play on here. We played 101 minutes of the match. If you want to learn on the extra 8, we played 108 minutes of the game. And the referee still hasn't blown. I haven't really noticed him check the watch once. Here's Roberts now, bringing it away for Sunderland. Sheffield United get possession back. Well, that injury to Harmer, I said it might be the turning point. How much has it proved? Kiefer Moore had a chance at the start as well. All those missed chances. There will be regrets. There will be this, there will be that, there will be others. But Sheffield United, there'll be half of Sheffield celebrating tonight in the blue half of the city. There'll be Sheffield Wednesday supporters. They'll be having a party. So there'll be one bit of Sheffield that will be celebrating. But let's stay with Sunderland. Still seconds to play. They haven't won it yet. They have now! Sunderland, after 7 years away, are back in the promised land. Regis de Breese's side have come from behind in the final 20 minutes and have snatched a victory when it looked for all the while today that it was going to end in heartbreak. Sheffield United led at half-time through a wonderful strike from Tyrese Campbell, but then goals from Maeda with a quarter of an hour left of normal time to play, and then Tom Watson with a 25-yard extra step with his side of his right foot, a cultured finish, may I add, has won Sunderland the match and the place in the top division. And it's 10th time unlucky, Paul, for Sheffield United.
You got to feel very sorry for Sheffield United. They've like I said, they'd created the better chances in most of the game. They controlled most of the game. It wasn't enough. It's hard to finish on 94 points and not go up. I can't remember the last time that happened.
I don't think it ever happened, to be honest with you.
I don't think it's ever happened either. And it's just, I mean, congratulations to Sunderland, promoted like Ipswich, promoted 2 years on the bounce. That's a fantastic achievement. So congratulations to Sunderland. Sheffield United will be devastated every time the playoffs come around. The end result is defeat and heartbreak. They'll have to go back to the drawing board next season. Whether or not they're going to be able to keep this team together is another matter as we take a look at Gustavo Harmer.
But Sheffield United haven't just lost it today, have they? They lost it at Oxford when they lost. They lost against Millwall at home. They lost against Burnley, and they lost at Plymouth. That was the game where their season imploded at Plymouth. They had it in the bag, lost it, and then Wilder lost his skin towards the end of that game. That, in my opinion, is where they've lost the chance of promotion, not just today, but over the regular season as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That's where they've lost the automatic promotion, because they were very consistent for a long time over the season. And despite Burnley winning, Sheffield United were winning, and it was over a longer period of time over the season, it looked like Sheffield United were going to get the automatic promotion and Burnley would have to go into the playoffs. But as you say, it wasn't until the last month or so of the season when things started to fall apart for Sheffield United and Burnley held on and got promoted. But it was, in the end, I mean, this is just, you look at this as football right here, and this is football. The emotions of the winners and the emotions of the losers.
Well, the Sheffield United fans are leaving in their droves, and I think that's a bit of a shame, because they've been given some great entertainment by Sheffield United. Tom Watson there just getting an interview there with the television people. Just to remind you, Dan Bungler was our player of the match, of course, sponsored by Commenttary Services, and he's just gone up towards the Sunderland fans over on the far side and he's waving to the crowd. If anyone epitomises Sunderland, it's him. He really is a super player. And Sunderland, let's be fair, they didn't register a shot on goal until the 76th minute of this final, but they had a lot of the possession, they had a lot of the play. Up until then, they just didn't know what to do. And now here they are. They're going to win. They're going to go up to those 107 Wembley steps, and they're going to lift the biggest. They're going to lift a nice, lovely three-handled trophy that they're going to parade. There's probably going to be a civic reception in Sunderland. They probably haven't had scenes like this probably since 1973. And speaking of which, there's Jim Montgomery, the hero of that day. His double save from Peter Lorimer. I'm sorry to remind us of that, because it was his Leeds team that day, then managed by Don Revie. But it's up there with that day. It's up there when they won the FA Cup, of course, in 1937. It's up there with all the great achievements at this famous old football club up in the northwest. Newcastle came here 2 months ago and won the League Cup. Sunderland have come here 2 months on and we'll play them next season. And how good are we going to? How many good derbies are we going to see in the Premier League next season? The time we're derby is back on the menu next season, Paul.
Oh, that's going to be an interesting game. Oh, yeah. That is going to be a game and a half to look forward to, is that one, the time we're derby. They're always interesting. As for Sunderland now, they've got a lot of work to do in the summer transfer market if they want to stay in the top division.
Yeah, it's going to be a big gap to breach, isn't it? And it's the same for Leeds and it's the same for Burnley as well.
Yeah, because at the moment, if I look at the moment, it's looking. I don't see either of these three sides staying up. So it's going to take a lot of work for them to put together a squad that is competitive in this league.
Well, there's Luke O'Nien. He had to come off after about 5 minutes. It's just one of these. it's, you know, Tom Watson, if he never ever scores a goal in his professional career again, Paul, he could say now with great assurance, I scored the winning goal in a cup final at Wembley. Playoff final, FA Cup final, whatever it is, whatever the occasion. I've scored in a Wembley Cup final. You can't take that away from me.
Yeah, and that's it. This is perhaps the most important goal, at least to date, that he'll score in his career.
Absolutely. Just to remind you, the Scottish Cup final, they've gone to extra time there. We've played nearly 15 minutes of extra time in that one. Still 1-1, 2 on goals in that one, incidentally. We're just going to take a couple of minutes before the presentation. We and Paul need to get set for the presentation. So we'll be back in about a couple of minutes for the presentation. Rejoin us for that. Welcome back to Wembley. The Sunderland players have just gone up the 107 steps leading to the Royal Box. Most of them are there. Maeda is just having a selfie with a Sunderland supporter. But they haven't actually gone up also 107 steps. They've gone up most of it anyway. They're all waiting to go up into that Royal Box Sheffield United have made their way off the pitch while we've been away. I'm sure Chris Wilder will have a few strong words to say in his post-match conference, but it's all about the winners. And Wembley's always a place for winners. And in the end, even though they didn't do much in the way of attacking the Sheffield United goal for 70-odd minutes, even though they had most of the possession, you've got to say their famous fighting spirit, Sunderland, has got them through, Paul James.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They have really done a fantastic job. When it all looked like it just wasn't going to be enough, when it all looked like they were not going to score, out of nowhere they get a goal back, and in stoppage time they win the game. And you look back at the Sheffield United missed chances as well, and the save, the important kick save by the goalkeeper, that you have to go back to that as well, because that was a turning point during the game as well. So, you know, all of this now has shown that they have got themselves into a good position.
Well, Dan Neal in a few moments from now is going to grab the trophy, and I didn't think for 70-odd minutes today he was expected to lift it come the end, but in football, the game lasts for 90 or so minutes, and when Sunderland were 1-0 down, they never stopped believing, they never stopped thinking about it. And they're going to hand the trophy now to Dan Neal, the captain, who takes the trophy and lifts it high into the sky, into the North London skyline. And Sunderland and their supporters who travelled down from dawn this morning from the northeast in their thousands and thousands and thousands, all that way from Wearside. It's all been worth it. Sheffield United fans are already on the M1 back to the Steel City. It's all about Wearside. Dan Ballard lifts the trophy aloft. Scenes reminiscent of 1973 and 2022 lived all over again.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's Sunderland's day. Joby Bellingham, at least someone will be taking a winner's medal from the Bellingham family this season. If June doesn't, Joby will.
Well, they can be out. There's Kevin Phillips, I think, there as well, another former Sunderland player. And
yeah, the famous little large partnership that served Sunderland so well for so many years.
It's just nice to see Sunderland back. They're too big of a club to be outside of the Premier League.
They were too big a club to be Lancashire in League One for 3 or 4 seasons as well, wasn't they?
Yeah, yeah.
Peter Reid, I've just seen there. He lost the playoff final once, 1998, that 4-4 game we mentioned earlier. And now the real work starts for Sunderland, but it's an exciting problem to have. But they're going to be behind Leeds and Burnley in what they can attract in terms of quality players, because they spent, Leeds and Burnley have been promoted at least a good 4 or 5 weeks before Sunderland have.
I mean, I suspect they'll be able to attract. I think out of all the 3 teams that have a chance of staying up, I think Sunderland are going to attract more players to them than perhaps Leeds or Burnley. I just think that they're a bigger club, and I think they've got a better chance, in my opinion, of staying up because of that reason, that they might be able to attract better players to Sunderland.
I don't think our producer would thank you too much for that.
No, I'm probably next on the sacking list, but at the end of the day, that's what I believe personally. See, I can already see a message in the private chat there.
Yes, let me just read out some of these messages, because we've got a few on there. White Maggot says Burnley have lost a couple of games. I wonder how we'll go on next season. Only time will tell. Rebecca, come on Blades, I think she's a Sheffield United fan. We are sorry. I'm away in Scotland, half my family at Wembley. And Luke Turton says Blades have fallen apart again. So there's some of the comments that have been flooding in this afternoon. Russ says He points out that the attendance is 82,718, and he also says, I hope you enjoyed your last TCO commentary. You're sacked after that comment about Leeds losing to Sunderland. I know you're joking, Russ. I know you're joking, mate. But yeah, that was it was a marvellous game, a marvellous advert for the EFL as well. I mean, it's been everyone talks about English football and the Premier League and everything else about it. But I've done a few EFL matches with Burnley being back there this season, and I have to say the standard of the league. I mean, you look at the top 3 or 4, the top 3 incidentally. I mean, if it had been, I mean, they say if they did playoffs in any other European league, Sheffield United, because they were like 14 points ahead of Sunderland at the end. Now, in any other season, if they could have just. I mean, there may well be an argument from Sheffield United's point of view. Why couldn't we just have the top 3 going up? You know, I mean, I don't want to take the gloss of Sunderland's victory here, but how could a team promoted with 76 points beat a team that hasn't been promoted with 94? It just doesn't make no sense.
Well, it doesn't, but that's the lottery of the playoffs, isn't it?
It does, but I'm not going to spoil Sunderland's party. They've earned the right on the field today, you know, and you can't obviously deny them that as they make their way down 107 steps. They're taking a long time to get down there, understandably so. There's going to be, I mean, I have to say, Sunderland, I don't know whether that was written in the stars. When they knew they were in the playoffs, Paul, when they knew full well they were in the playoffs and they knew they couldn't go any further down, because they were comfortable, they finished a comfortable 4th. Let's not make any mistake about it, Sunderland. Were they saving, I think the reason why they tailed off in form is they were saving their players for this moment. Yes, they weren't great in the semi-final. Yes, they were lucky to beat Coventry in the end. But you just had the sense after Ballard's goal, was it their year? Because you look at Sheffield United's record in playoffs, you just have to wonder now, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, I wonder what Sheffield United must be thinking right now, what their fans must be thinking. Having all these playoffs, having not won at Wembley for so long, they must be thinking to themselves, well, you know, when is this run going to end? Now, if they can keep most of their team together, I think they've got a good chance next season. But I don't know. Usually, relegated teams, if they do stick together, they usually have an agreement that if they're not promoted the following year, that they can leave. So that could be on the cards. I don't want to rub salt into any Sheffield United fan at the moment, but you know, you've got to look at some of their players that are there, class players as well. You've got obviously Chowdhury was on loan, so he'll go back to Leicester. You think you look at Harmer, who's an absolute colossus for them. I think they lost a lot of momentum when he went off the field because he was running the show in midfield. Some of the breaks he made were superb. Can they hold on to him? Can they hold on to Callum O'Hare? Can they even hold on to Michael Cooper, who's been one of the most brilliant goalkeepers any other season? If Trafford isn't in that championship, if he was a Premier League goalkeeper now and he wasn't taking part in the championship, Cooper would have won the Golden Glove. So you have to say that's 3 players off the tongue. I've rolled off the tongue that could be on their way in the summer, Paul. Yeah, there could be. They could lose half of this team. In all fairness, of course, that would, unless they could replace them with equal quality, that would probably condemn them to the Championship for a number of years.
Yeah, I remember when they lost in 2009, they struggled for a couple of years, then were relegated to League One, and they took a while to get back there. So it's, I mean, and then you've got to look at Chris Wilder's future. Does he want to continue? Because we saw in 2009 when he lost to Burnley, you could tell on then manager Kevin Blackwell's face that his heart wasn't in it anymore. And I don't want to say, I mean, listen, Chris Wilder is like Neil Warnock. He in a way, they're both Sheffield United fans. They both want the team. They bleed blue and white, red and white. Sorry, they do. Sheffield people. Does Chris Wilder have it in him to carry on again, go again next season, considering that they're going to be handicapped with Leicester coming down, Southampton coming down, Ipswich coming down, and then you've got Birmingham and Wrexham who are going to have lots of money with these American owners. Yeah. It's going to be a tougher championship than ever, so it's probably just as well these three teams, Sunderland, Burnley and Leeds, have got out when they have, because, you know, it's like, you know, the championship's going to be an awful lot tougher next season, certainly with Birmingham and Wrexham coming up as well. Yeah,
I agree. It's going to be a very tough year next year for whoever is in there, like Wrexham, sort of Hollywood club, if you will. And then you've got Birmingham, and I don't know about Southampton. I think they've got a better chance of going up than the teams that have come down, with a possible exception of Leicester.
Well, speaking of Southampton, there's been an agreement in principle that Will Still is going to be their new manager next season. He's a good up and coming young English manager. I think he's a good fit for Southampton. Bit like in the Russell Martin mould. Obviously he was a guest today at Wembley. But there's been a few comments as well. Good afternoon, everyone. There's only one Yorkshire team in the Premier League. That is Russ's Leeds United, quite rightly pointed out. So there's only going to be one Yorkshire side next season in the top flight, and it's Leeds United. They are the biggest club in Yorkshire. There isn't a doubt about that. I think Benjamin's a bit overzealous. You can't relegate a team before they even kick the ball. So to say that they're going to be relegated next season is a preposterous statement to make. Sorry, that just is. Congratulations to Sunderland, says Media Jingles and Gaming. And he also says there's two brilliant time winner derbies to look forward to. We've already touched on that, Media. It's going to be absolutely superb. Final thought on the EFL. As standard of football goes, it's been a remarkable season. And today's final has been the great advert that we all hope for. I mean, if you contrast that, you compare that to the UEFA Cup final we saw on Wednesday. That was a diabolical game between two teams who could play an awful lot better. Today, if those two teams, Sunderland and Sheffield United, had played in that same final, that would have been a great advert for UEFA football. As it happens, they played in the EFL, and that's been a great advert for them, hasn't it?
Well, it certainly has. It's been a hard-fought game. I'm not going to say it was lavishly entertaining. It wasn't, but it was nail-biting. It was both teams wanting to try to find a way to break each other down. It was what I would call good old-fashioned English football, it was a very, very absorbing game to watch and brilliant game to commentate on, wasn't it?
It was. Anyway, Paul, thank you very much for your contributions today. I've enjoyed it as always. Right, Anthony Patterson incidentally got the television vote for man of the match. Anyway, that's it from me for this season as far as domestic football is concerned. I hope you've enjoyed my commentary over the last 9 months. It's been a joy to be part of the TC Hub again. I'll be back with the guys next season. Just one more bit of housekeeping I need to do before I leave you today is that we've got a big European Cup final. We've got two big European finals to bring you. On Wednesday, Russ Burner will be your commentator for the Chelsea Europa Conference League final. So he'll be bringing that to you on the Wednesday. And then Paul will be the main man again as he brings you the big one. The big one in every sense of the word. Inter Milan against Paris Saint-Germain in the European Cup final next weekend. He'll be there. I hope you can be there. Today, Sunderland are there in the Premier League. They had to do it from behind. They had to survive a lot of scrapes with Sheffield United. A disallowed goal. Two brilliant saves from Patterson at 1-0 down. Any ordinary side would have crumbled. Not Sunderland. They came back. They made changes. And Tom Watson has written himself into Sunderland legend. From all of us here at Wembley on the TC Hub, I hope you've very much enjoyed the coverage this afternoon. From all of us here, from Paul and myself, good afternoon.